Hello! Hi! Hi, 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 hi! Hello! Hello, hello! Hi, how are you doing? Hello, hello, hello! As congrats on first. Hi, August. Hi, Cereal. Hi, Az again. Hi, Blue. Hi, Gremlin. How are y'all doing? How are y'all doing today? I got Spotify working again! Yippee! I feel better. I slept for 12 fucking hours. As they ringing in. Um, I feel better. I feel better. Yippee! Okay, like it's very obvious. I'm like back to like normal energy levels, if not a little bit higher. I feel wonderful. Um, it's good. Yeah, 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 yeah. I thank you. I will not be saying that back. Sorry, Gremlin. um, I'm sorry. You know I don't say that back to people. You know that. I you know this. This is bait. Think Satyr monster I caught with a high-tech yo-yo? Yes, always. I love satyrs. Take such glee rejecting me. It wasn't a Glee thing. Glee is a TV show. That's different. I hate you. Say it back. I hate you too, Blue. Fucking pow. Fucking punch the monitor. Pow 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 pow. You're over there giggling like a maniac. It's because it was so funny to me at the context. You want to say it back to me? This is true. This is true. I never will. If I do ever say that back to someone, be concerned. There is something brutally wrong with me if I say that back to someone. Either that or I'm extremely tired. In which I guess also there's something supremely wrong with me in gaming. Okie doke. Oh my god, it's a silly little guy. It's literally just a silly little guy. I I love them. The stream we have real Yuri to attend to. Yeah, stop flirting with me. How dare you? The Yuri will come momentarily. I feel better, so I want to fucking yap my shit. Um, can Evo too? Oh hell yeah! Oh hells yeah! Um, Also, side note, yippee! So today marks the last day of the Pride Week, and right now, if I look at it correctly, it's at $414 out of out of 250. I just moved it up to 500 for aesthetic purposes. Um, Holy fucking shit. That will also go up a little bit more as ads revenue comes in, but it's not going to be that much more. It'll probably be like at most like $2 or $3. Um, Holy fucking shit, thank you. Thank you so much to everyone that donated. Thank you those that gifted us, particularly the anonymous one. I'm still confused about that thing that happened during the Subnautica stream where someone just gifted a sub to Hello Mayo and like mayonnaise real patchy or something. I'm still confused about that one. Dianable, cute. Cute like Dionysus? Dianibal? Dianibal? Um, can I forward the streamer? No. You're not allowed. How dare you? How dare you consider such a thing? Uh, but yeah, I'm really thankful. I'm very grateful. I'm surprised I was able to get. Can I sleep on your couch? Fine, I'll allow it. I'll allow it, I guess. Drunk state or queer Dionysus is present. Fair point. Very fair point. Also, I'm so happy that Spotify is working again. Holy fucking shit, it was bothering me. Oh yeah, also, anyways, you're not gonna be able to guess what flavor I have today. On the streamer's downfall? Sure. Go ahead. I'd like to see your theories. I would love to see how you decide to plot it. Red, white, and blue? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. It's not one I give very often, so it's gonna be hard to guess. But oh yeah, what are we doing? We are YURIIII today, and um this is also gonna be a stream before. I'm gonna fucking get you, chef. Are you in my walls? Are you in my walls? What the actual fuck? Get out of my walls. Get out of my walls. I got orange creamsicle. What the hell? You know, I am. Apparently you and August are. Because I make cookies and then August is like, I'm already in your walls, so orange creamsicle is good. It is really, really yummy. Something generic. What the hell? I'll be in your walls? Yes, you will. And Aspen is the door. Yeah. Blue is my wall. And then Aspen is my door. I forget what everyone else is. I think Remy is my floor or my roof. Something like that. Oh my god. Y'all need to stop, like, abducting my fucking house. Excuse me. That's gonna be hard to do. You can manage it, I'm sure. I think I'm in your freezer. Okay, I respect that. A very respectable position. Hi, Tato. Thank you for bringing in. Fairy Rock? Yes. Dancy is Fairy Rock. Which means Dancy is 4 times weak to steel. Huh. But it's not like there's much offensive steel presence. So, the Moth Mortuary somehow? That's a very fair point. You gotta build it somehow. Oh my gosh. I'm still so grateful. I'm so like, it's been such a good week, like in terms of like everything. Like I've had so much fun. We've been able to raise money for charity. We've been able to like have a lot of good times. Metal scraping sounds. Ooh, you're weak to metal sound, which is not even an offensive move. It just is. It's a status move. Actually, is metal sound a status move? I'm pretty sure. The Lucario, that thing is easily countered. Yeah, it's literally limited to like flash cannon. That's literally it. Either that or like Meltan. Melmetal? Melmetal? Styrofoam scraping sounds? Ugh, awful. Oh yeah, also, wait. Hi Aspen. How you doing? Did y'all watch the Summer Games Fest? Um, I have. There's one thing in particular that I'm very, very excited about. Spoilers for those that haven't seen it yet or care. Um, I was the games. Hell yeah. I'm very, very excited for Monhun! Monhun, 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 Monhun. We got a new Monhun DLC! I'm so fucking excited! Oh my god, it looks so good! I'm so excited. Montor, Montor, no. I mentioned that in Nox in chat? Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm so excited. Monster Hunter. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. I'm so excited, I'm so excited. I can't even. I can't even. Oh my gosh. Monster Hunter Stories? Yeah, I haven't been watching Nox's Monster Hunter Story streams because I want to play Monster Hunter Stories, so I don't want to get spoiled. So unfortunately, but like, look at that! Look at that! They look so fucking sick. Oh my god! And then we have a monster that I'm not familiar with. Um, where is it? Yeah, this little guy. I'm not familiar with this monster, but someone said it's Pikachu, so I'm inclined to believe that it's Pikachu. That's Reggie. He's chill. Oh, okay. Sick, sick, sick. Ben Jerry's we have. Ooh, good luck. Good luck, good luck, good luck. But yeah, this is the one thing from it. Like I watched the whole thing. The one thing that I'm excited for is fucking Monster Hunter. Cause oh my god, it looks so cool. And like, dude, oh my gosh. I'm so excited. Oh wait, I didn't even analyze it. Is there like a dual blades that someone's using in here? I want to see if there's a new dual blade. Because dual blades are my main. So I want to know. Press Pikachu, right? Yeah, of course. Of course. I don't like they have like that new like thing off to the side on their wrist. Like, oh my god. But I didn't see any dual blades. Yeah. I didn't see any dual blades. But like, I'm so excited. I'm so heckin' excited. It's gonna be so fucking sick. It's not for until like 2027, which like is expected. But I just hope it's like fleshed out. I hope it's good. Oh my fucking god. I love Monster Hunter. I want to play Monster Hunter now. Uh, what if like what if I piss off as not as hair in my mouth. What if I accidentally piss off Nox again and play Monster Hunter after we finish Yuri? What if I did that? What if I played Monster Hunter? What pissed me off? No, 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 no. I meant Nox. I meant Nox. I meant Nox. Monhun? Yippee! Monhun. I love Monster Hunter. I love Monster Hunter. With the bringing in. I love Monster Hunter. But yeah, I'm super, super excited. But oh yeah, what was I saying? Um, so I am gonna be a little bit busy. Which one? Probably World because I need to progress more in that. But I'm down for either. Maricone Dream or Omeo Dream Pie. Both of those are so fucking good. Oh my gosh, those are both so yummy. Um. Oh yeah, but so I'm gonna be a little bit busy over the next week. Um, between tomorrow, I'm going back home to go to a grad party for my neighbors. Um, the next day, I'm going to a beach party. Excuse me, with my friends. Then, um, wait, is that it for now? Up until the 11th, really? Because the 11th is when cereal comes over. Um, Giddy up, friends. It's not a flex. We're going on hiatus, holding on our way to Pride. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I've been wanting to like stream as much as I possibly can before I know I can't stream at all for like a month. So, coming over on the 11th? Yes, Serial. No one told me this. You did. Goodness me. Um, but yeah. So I am gonna be a little bit busy. I might stream like once or twice while Serial's there. Um, but I don't want to like I want to make sure I give Serial attention. Like I don't want to be a bad host. So if I do stream, I'll probably involve Serial with it. If I do at all. Fish, Hayuki. You know what that means. Fish. Um, but yeah. I'm really, really excited for it. I got a lot of fun stuff coming up. Because I'm going on a trip, I'm seeing Serial, I'm having a grad party, I have a grad party the next weekend. I have one this weekend and next weekend to go to. Two different neighbors. Um, so yeah. It's just the original fish image, but with Cupid instead. Moth. Cute. Like cat, yes. Dude, Zero is a fucking cat. Pet that she rarely gets to see. No, that's literally it. Zero, you should see how much Zero DMs me. I'm not gonna leak DMs, but that's literally it. I don't DM you ever. Hold on. How many today alone? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 today alone. To be fair, part of that was a small conversation that we were having, but yes, not that that's not that bad. Yesterday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 36 yesterday. And you know what almost all of that is? Half of it is Yuri. Half of it is Yuri. Oh my god. Only half? Yeah, of course it is, yeah. Uh, like, the most recent Yuri that Serial sent. Absolutely love this artist. But yeah, very, very cute. It's a moth. Pretty. Yeah! They got the long bacon. They have long bacon. Here's a tsundere. Ooh, I can see that. Sorry, I should go get wasted. Please don't get wasted. Aspen is being silenced for telling the truth. Oh my god, Squid! 100 watch streak. Holy shit. That's fucking sick. Congrats on the 100 watch streak. Clappy. That's fucking sick. Congrats on being the first person to get a 100 watch streak, actually. That's insane. Oh god, why do I have people with a 100 watch streak? Oh my god. There's so hey, I don't know what you're talking about. That was unrelated. That was unheckin' related. Randomly the 100 watch streak for 0 reason because it just sometimes does that. Fuck, dude. That happened to me. That happened to me. 62. Dude, that's so much. How the fuck did y'all get this high? Oh my god. That's just wild to me. Because the highest I have used to be like a 57. But then excuse me, got fucked over like Yuki was talking about. Been high since Montreal? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. I haven't been high since like last week. I don't know, I'm just here. Hey, if you're here, you're here. That's all it takes. Like, honestly, it doesn't have to be anything. Just your presence is enough. Um, but yeah, like, I don't really get watch streaks just because, like, I tend to have things randomly come up. So, because of that, I struggle to, like, keep up with, like, a consistent schedule, if that makes sense. Like, I tend to binge and then I just, like, miss one or two by accident. Haven't tried it? Hell yeah. Do it, do it, do it, do it. It's so good. It's so good. I mean, same? Yeah. Except for you have a 98 watch streak. Can't imagine why that happened. We time for you anything? Ooh. Ooh, I know what you are. I'm adding this song to the playlist, by the way. This was just from random music playing. I love Diva Bleach. I want to see Diva Bleach in concert. See the comfort of the woods. That's so fucking valid. That is so unbelievably valid. Like, is she in the background to maintain it? That's fair. Say it out loud. I actually don't know that reference. I unfortunately do not know that reference. If I'm not actively watching it, yeah. Twilight? Oh, I never read or watched Twilight. Is that a bad thing? Like, I know it's like a quintessential thing to watch, but I've never watched it. I've just never seen any reason to, I guess. That's for the best? Okay, got it. One of my friends had like a watch party for it. They passed out, woke up like 2 hours later and was able to catch up with the plot immediately. filmed in my backyard and haven't watched it, please. Experience it. I don't know. Yeah, at this point, I don't know if I should experience it. One of my friends is absolutely obsessed with it. They still consistently read Twilight fanfic. Um, has read all the books and watched all the movies. It would be a waste. Duly noted. The Sonic fan dilemma of it's the I've experienced everything. I fucking hate it. I've been forced into playing Sonic stuff and in as payment for um accidentally making obviously y'all know me. I've been playing Sonic Adventure in exchange for accidentally making me do 89 goals in a Breath of the Wild randomizer. Um oopsie. To be honest, it's more just like more than anything, it gives me something to do. I'm not actually forced into it. Like if I didn't want to, I wouldn't have to. I'm just doing it for the fuck of it. Like to be quite honest. Do me? No. Tom makes for good fanfic material, whatever, because it reads like one. Not in a good way, I imagine. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm being forced to experience Static. There's no Yuri in it though, so I'm not interested. Yuri is peak and very important for storytelling. If there's no Yuri, then why am I here? We're here to bake. God damn it. I How many of y'all watch like Dylan Hollis, the baker guy? Like the vintage YouTube channel. He does a lot of like baking stuff, but he's just in general a vintage channel. Um Drifter was the male lead. True. Oh my god, Aspen, they got Drifter to stand on the stage for the Games Fest. I can't believe it. Started writing and did stop. That's so funny. Huh? Matt Mercer. Matt Mercer voices the Drifter. The Dwifta. Oh yeah. Yeah. Matt Mercer. It's Dwifta. Yeah, I'm the Dwifta, baby. He's the Dwifta. I like to imagine that, like, it's obviously not accurate at all, but I'd like to imagine that the Drifter from Deadlock is just a low key, like, total, like, just colon 3 user. Like, like he is the Dwifta. He's not Drifter. He is Dwifta. Like I imagine him, like he would cosplay like Lolbit. Like Frick Bear's 3 Lolbit is actually Dwifta. Like that's the Drifter in his spare time. I'd like to imagine that. Just because I think it'd be very silly. Like, oh my god, that should be oh I should draw that. Oh my gosh, wait. That would be so fun. Um hold on. Cause like it's not very hard to just mimic the art style. It's very simple. Um like imagine imagine this silly little friend, like the colon 3 face right there. Imagine that mixed with the murder hobo himself. Like that would be so fucking cute. Oh my gosh, that would be so adorable. Oh my gosh, that would be so adorable. Could you imagine? It's like a little bit with like the little hat. Wait, oh my god. Wait. Deceptively hard to mimic. I know, but still. It's okay. I'm gonna do my best. I wanna try that. I think that's what I do after stream today. I draw Dwifta. Dwifta is just Lolbit mixed um with Drifter. I think that would be peak. I think that would be peak. Extremely Mormon in ways that you don't notice at first, unless you know which dog was to look for in Mormon contact to connect to things. It came to her in a dream, and she just wrote it down. Interesting. Harry Potter fanfic? Did it? I know that 50 Shades of Grey is a Twilight fanfic, right? Just a tribute? Got it. Because he drives a modified Nissan Z. Aspen, isn't that you? Isn't that literally you? Like, if I'm not mistaken. No, I want a bone stock one. Oh, got it. Got it. So not quite. But yeah, I want this guy mixed with Lolbit. Like, I need this. I need this now. I need this hecking now. Oh my god. This is like, hold on. I'm putting this in my own suggestion channel. This is just like something that I'm automatically fixating on, and you cannot stop me. Dwifta, Drifter, X, Brick Bears, 3, Lolbit. Beautiful. Give beard red eyes and hat. Exactly! You see it! You see the vision! Oh my god. You see the vision. Like, oh my god. Like, he has the same scruffy hair. Like, you just give him the like, the little scruffy hair. Oh my god. And then you keep the ears and you just give him a little hat. Oh my god. And then you can have, like, you can have, like, red and like, I have, like, red and black. And, like, I have, like, the color of his hair at the top. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm so excited. I wanna mess with this. I wanna do this, like, now. Oh my god. It's just super detailed, but just the face? Exactly. Exactly. Oh my god. I'm so excited. Fuck it, art stream? For real, for real. I just don't have, Scran soon, don't worry. Bald! Until we meet again, Daichi. I just don't have the setup, unfortunately, to do an art stream. Um, all I have is an iPad. I don't have a drawing tablet, and I don't know how to mimic my screen onto OBS through my iPad. And even then, I only have IBIS Paint. I don't have CSP or anything, but I probably should. So, it's gonna be very stuffed, but I'm very excited. I wanna make the little bit. I'm gonna make the Dwifta. The Dwifta. Frida is free. On iPad? Oh. No, it's 1727 on iPad. I wonder if I can connect my iPad to it. That'll be peak. On PC? Okay, got it. Looks fucked up in all the right ways. It is so fun. Like, it's literally just an elaborate shit post. Hard to learn too. Oh, god damn it. Why is suddenly K-pop? Like, this I don't I don't know where Lace Seraphim came from. You have the Oblivion frame on your body? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Sorry, cereal. A VM? I guess so. However, basic stuff. Okay, let me see. Where's my iPad? Where is my iPad? There you are. Let me see. Dude, my battery on my iPad is so fucked. Please don't be dead. Super crazy, 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 crazy. Procreate? Yeah, I was considering getting Procreate. Why is it 3%? Dude, my battery is so fucked on here. Ba 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 ba. No, just like crazy. Ba ba da ba ba da ba 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 dum ba dum dum. Goes again, all the goes. Yeah, I can get CSP, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, start drawing and painting in a 30-day free trial. Beleg. Nearly dead when you need it. That's so fucking true. That's so fucking true. Oh my god. Plugging this motherfucker in. Ugh. But yeah, Procreate I'll have to look into. But yeah, I want to make the Dwifta. I need to make the Dwifta. Fuck you! Thanks, Gremlin. Thank you for the 30 watch streak. I don't. Why did that just show up in chat? Like, it literally just says "fuck you." Like, it doesn't even show up in chat. It's just 30 watch streak. Fuck you. Like, there's nothing. There's nothing there. Where did you come from? Where did you come from? I don't know. I tried. How dare you? You didn't try hard enough. Apparently, it'll work fine for a lot of stuff. It does. Tweet to Twitch that personally. I wonder if it got automated. Yeah, I know Ibis works. That's what I've done. Like all the assets that I have on stream are like, for example, the cuck cot. Yes, that is the actual name of it in my assets list. The cuck cot that you guys are sitting on was drawn in Ibis. Like it worked for sure, for sure. Um, like this works for sure. I'm sorry, the what? The cuck cot. Most of my watching Mr. Fuck you, I hate you. That's very true, actually. But yeah, the cot that you guys are drawn on, was drawn in Ibis. So like all the sub badges, the cot, the assets below the stream that I need to fix so they're the right dimensions, but I'm too lazy right now. Um, are like all drawn in Ibis. Genocide often starting with wiping out people's native languages. That's crazy. I mean, it's literally true. Like that's wild. I won't get too deep into it, but that is actually something that I studied for a class in my first year of college. My fingies in the way? Yeah, the fingies make it hard. I'm not the best with Ibis, but I know enough to make it work. And honestly, that's what matters. I think I want to draw the Dwifta. Your topic is just the truth? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, my Dwifta. I want to draw the Dwifta. Dude, why is it that like I get these like ideas for things I want to do on stream and then just never do them off stream? Because like knowing myself, I'm not gonna be able to do it afterwards. Not having to go to bring them in life. Exactly. Like the reason why this is even in my head in the first place is because I was watching. I've been having a Frick Bears 3 kick. Don't worry about it. Um, I was watching this video earlier that was like a 2v2 Frick Bears 3 bingo. And 47 when? Never. Um, but one of them is a VTuber that made like a low bit version of their VTuber model. Yeah, like that. And that's what it made me think of. I'm like, oh my god, I can make the Dwifta. I could totally just make the Dwifta. Like, I can just literally drifterify Lobit. Like, zero context, beautiful. Beautiful. But yeah, like, I want to do it. 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 Excuse me. Just like fucking temporary VTuber model Dwifta. Then do it. I can't right now. I'm fucking streaming. I don't have the setup to do it on stream. If I was an art streamer, I would 100% do it right now. But I'm not an but I don't have it. I mean, idea more carpal tunnel, awful. End stream, do it. I'm not gonna end stream. Not when I'm actually feeling good today. If I didn't end stream yesterday when I felt like shit, I am not ending stream today when I feel good. But like, this is fucking peak. This is absolute peak. Oh my god. I want to mess with this. I'm probably doing it after stream if I have the energy for it. This is Frick Bears 3. I could be playing Frick Bears 3 as well. I can't even do paper and pencil. True, but I don't have the skills to do that. Like, I need to have the reference up, and I'm gonna get the dimensions messed up if I do that. Hello, Mayo, how's your day been? Hello, Ali. My day's been good. Honestly, like, I feel like I didn't do shit today because I slept for 12 hours, so I just feel like I haven't done anything. But I've been good otherwise. Think there's a max mode that lists the ranks the hardest FNAF max mode? Yes. Yes. God, what if I play Thick Bears? Dude, I'm getting so sidetracked. Open Blender and make a whole ass 3D VTuber Dwifta model? I mean, if I were to make a 3D VTuber model, it would probably be Manhattan Cafe or Celeste. Celeste from Deadlock. Because Celeste is my main in Deadlock, and Manhattan Cafe is my favorite Uma. So, like, one of those two. How's with this long enough for me to forget about something and be excited again until it comes up again? True. That's so fucking true. VTuber model? I mean, for FNAF Max Mode, this website is potentially hosting malicious content. That's so weird. FNAF Max Mode is malicious content? uh, how would Celeste translate over to Dwift to like Lolbit? Because the issue is Celeste's like main features involve a jacket. So I would need to draw the jacket over. And we reported, yeah, probably. So I would have to draw um the unicorn horn. Oh, you can't really see it very well. I would have to draw the unicorn horn. Um um bruh. Why can I never find a good image? Wait, I would need to find like the unicorn horn. Um unicorn horn, hair, which the hair is gonna be a little bit difficult in that art style because it's very like gradient-esque, and the jacket. And then I guess the leotard. Hair matches and earrings. Yeah, it'll be a little bit. Is that a flesh horn? No, it's she's just a unicorn. So Celeste will be a little bit more difficult, but I think I could manage. Man, that makes more sense. Yeah. Celeste the Deadlock character. She's my like main in Deadlock. Not recently because I don't like Gun Celeste, and that's kind of the meta right now. Is to go Gun then Spirit, but I don't like Gun Celeste, so I haven't been playing her very much. What Umashi? Smart Falcon. Either that or TM Opera O, but I use Smart Falcon. Hold on. Was the Moonshine shot ship for silver? Yes, she is. She is, in fact. Just a color ramp? True, actually. Very fair point. Um, where are you? There you are. Malkin. Malkin. It is Malkin. Ignore Blaziken Billy up there. And White Smiling Man? Yeah. There's a and Pikachu. Better than yesterday? So much better. Oh my gosh. I don't know what happened, but I just felt like shit yesterday. But I feel much better now. Hold on. Can I show y'all real quick how many Umas I have at this point? Because it's getting to the point where I have... Oh. Oh, that's massive, actually. Hold on. Updating. Poking tournament because of the crotch fluff? That is so funny. From Unite? Yes, it is. But hold on. Updating. I want to show y'all how many Umas I have. Because it's getting up there. Fry bread? I'm not familiar with fry bread. What is fry bread? I know it's like the fucking obligatory distraction hour, but I still feel bad like distracting right now. I want to show y'all my umas. I want to show y'all my umas. Oh yeah, I was reading the patch notes earlier. Very small patch notes, but yeah. Um, I need to play Slay Spire 2 again. Is it a bread you fry? I would hope so. I'm not. Who's up? Who's up frying the bread, dude? I got this like I okay. So I don't really like bread most of the time. Um, because just bread is like not my favorite thing because like weird gluten stuff. Um, but I've been enjoying this with I got this bread from like Ralph's that's like low key such good toast bread. So like I think I might just like get addicted to like toast for a little bit. And Dorito and get gutted. Yippee! Yippee! The Dorito. Dorito. Oh yeah. Also. What is the Dorito? Regent. Or are you talking about the infested prism? There's multiple Doritos. Also. I have. Oh my god. Y'all saw like me freaking out over Manhattan Cafe, right? Like wedding dress Manhattan Cafe. Wedding dress Manhattan Cafe is in the game. Someone added the mod for it. So I can play as Manhattan Cafe wedding dress. Oh my fucking god, it's so cute! Oh my god, I'm so happy. I'm so heckin' happy. Like, look at this. She's so pretty. Her dress goes fucking everywhere, but like, is she marrying her lab partner? Yes. Who's your waifu? She's not my waifu! She's not my waifu! I just really like my wedding dress. I'm not object to the union. Please. Please. Oh my god, but I'm so happy. I'm so fucking happy. She looks so pretty! And then here's her lab partner. But yeah, okay. So, not if she wasn't your waifu, fair point. Um, but we currently are only missing like 10 Umas. One, two. This could be an Uma, but I didn't want to confuse myself. So one, two. Okay, the mod bugged. Okay, so one also could exist. One, two, three, four, five. There's a mod getting worked on for you. Six, cursed number. Mod isn't working. Eight. There's only 8 Umas. When a dress is pretty, yes. We are always able to appreciate good dress. But yeah, there's 8 Umas missing. Everyone else is an Uma. And I think that is fucking amazing. Like, we're so close to just peak Uma lock. It's so awesome. But yeah, okay, I gotta mess with the mods later tonight. But I'm so happy. I'm so happy. She looks so cute. Frog. Anyways. Anyways. I'm so happy. I am so happy. Um oh my god, it's 48 minutes. Okay, it's scran time. It is scran time. Yes, scran. Takoyaki. Takoyaki off rip. That's just not even fair. Okay, so once again, we're going for Zero's Kenyer! Oh my god, it's back. It's back. Oh my god, it's back. We're tomato sauce. It's missing paprika. I know. It's unfortunately missing paprika. The question mark? Yes. Because then we can see the scran emote. The beautiful scran of scran. But again, we are going to get the lowest possible amount because it's technically a harder percentile to be at 0. So cheeseburger is definitely the higher one. Mm-hmm. Just bread, lard, and onion. It's very important. It's very important, okay? Out of pocket? Whoa. Out of who? Not pocket deadlock. Not this. But it's like seeing an old friend because it's free fry. Yippee! I know we're keep freaking it. I'll be freaking it. But yeah, obviously this is higher. Out of a pocket. Oh, got it. Apple crumb or fish burger. Ooh, okay. This high key looks really yummy. Am I wrong? Like that high key goes hard. That looks like a really good fish burger. Long eye burger? Dude, I will happily take a long fish. Fish the long way. Fish the long way. Fish. Yeah, let's go. But yeah, looks good. Yeah. Neapolitan! Neapolitan ice cream. Okay, this is a hard horse meat. Oh god. This is probably higher. Yeah. Fish. Ooh, chicken box. That's totally higher. Yep. Yep. Two steak tacos for $10. That is overpriced as shit. Oh my god. It looks like they put a fish stick in a hot dog bun and called it a day. That's a fair point. I just saw a long fish and I'm satisfied. Maybe I'm just easily impressed, but I thought it was quite delightful. Um this is probably the correct one. Yep. Let's go. We're gaming. Look at that. Oh my god, it's the Neapolitan ice cream sandwich again. So this is the higher one? Yup. The fish propaganda. What have we done? Yeah. Ooh. Okay, both of these look really yummy. Both of these look really yummy. You have y'all seen that one thing of like you will impress a loved one with a shiny rock or something. It's like a fortune. That's me. You will impress a moth with a big fish. An ad photo? That's what I was thinking. But like, would it be higher? This one's actually tough. I feel like this one's higher. But that's because I would eat this. This might be higher because it looks like an ad. As a food? Yeah. Damn it! Ah! Piece of cheese? That's what it is. It is a piece of cheese. Damn it, though. There goes the perfect 10. Warm toffee apple crumble. This one's higher. Alarm shit. It's fine, I guess. This one. Yep. Glorp shit. Scanner outside light and heat. Damn. We couldn't we're only the 0.072 percentage. We couldn't get the 0 percentage. Ah, we were so close. We were so close. You already ring in? Maybe. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, you did. I see it on my screen still. I see it. Oh man. It's okay. Cool. Yeah. 1 out of 10 is point and laugh worthy. Yeah, it's only a 9 out of 10. Do it again just in case. True. Make tea. Enjoy your tea. Oh my god. I think. Do we think it is time to Yuri? Ollie, thank you for ringing in. This is in fact dwarf shit. I'm getting hit by the wave of EP. A wave of EP. Yeah, thank you for ringing in as well. I think it is time to Yuri. I think it is time. And Gremlin, thank you for ringing in. When I try to redeem it? Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I was gonna say it should be like unable to be redeemed. Hold on, I forgot to like extract the game. So I'm extracting my stuff. Enjoy chandeliers? I hope so. I hope so. I'm excited. So many fucking mosquitoes. Awful. Mosquitoes are annoying. They could explode and I wouldn't be sad. It is time. I think this is good. It is time to Yuri. Supposedly this is Yuri. I've from my sources, which have been quite reliable in the past, allegedly, supposedly, this is in fact Yuri. So, hey, sign of younger blood. Hee hee. I am lucky enough that mosquitoes don't really like me. I consider myself very fortunate in that regard. Because I'm sources. Yup. It is as is my sources. Is. It is time to Yuri. Imagine like the reason why I like changed my fucking tone was because like I'm making this into a YouTube video. Could you imagine? That'd be so funny. I could totally make a monopoly off of Yuri visual novels. I could totally do that. I could totally just make a monopoly off of Yuri visual novels. Just edit a bunch of Yuri visual novels and then like post it on YouTube so people can enjoy it. That'd be interesting. Interesting? Yeah. Like, cause like I feel like that's pretty untapped market. So that could be fun. That could be fun. But alas, it is time. I mean, what's up, YouTube? Kidding. Will become Mass Yuri, dude. I'm so fucking down. Comfort asked to sleep too. True. Fucking true. Oh my god. But it would be like individual videos of me playing through Yuri games, probably. If I did do that. But yeah, my YouTube niche will just become Yuri. Because there's too much to fit in one video. Fucking real. Oh my god. But yeah, there's options. There's always a niche. There's always a niche. Anyways. An oath in kind. Let's get started. Hee. I have to hurry. Advanced story, screen capture, select choice, game menu. Claire, please be here, please be alive. Brambles cracked under Claire's feet as she ran through the forest hollow, getting down the mud-slick slopes and stumbling over twisted roots. She didn't have the luxury of care and caution, though even if she did, she wouldn't have slowed her pace. Whoops. She wouldn't have slowed her pace. Her every thought and breath was honed to a single point, all focused on one single desire. I have to find her! Dirt caked the joints in her greaves, and her tabard tore against the knot of thorns. Even as her legs and lungs screamed for rest, she pressed herself further. Your Majesty, please be alive, please be... There, at the bottom of the hollow, beside a slow trickling stream, Claire saw the shape of a body in the mud. The rest of the forest faded from sight, and before she noticed her own legs moving, she was already kneeling down into the dirt. Claire lifted the woman from the dirt, holding her back and brushing her leaves and mud from her face. The woman groaned and coughed faintly, her arms and neck still limp. Claire? She blinked and tried to move, but the 3 arrows in her side caught against the ground and she winced from the pain. Your Majesty, you're alive! Claire stared at her queen, washed in relief and terror, and a sudden wave of giddy nerves. Her Majesty wheezed, I'm alive? Tears gathered at the edge of Claire's eyes as she held her queen tenderly. Yes, you're alive! The queen groaned again. Damn it! Well, she wanted to be dead? One of Air's in her side scraped against the rib and she nearly fell from Claire's arms. She was still warm, though her hands were already cool to the touch as Claire lifted her up and began moving slowly through the wood. Please try to stay still, Your Majesty. There's a river nearby, I think. I'll need to wash your wounds before you can move much further. The queen was silent, staring off to the canopy as she took in shallow breaths. Claire washed the ground and stepped carefully, keeping her body as steady as possible so that the queen didn't jostle or shift in her arms. As she navigated the underbrush, Claire stole a glimpse of her queen's face. She looked weathered and drained. A splash of blood mixed with the dirt on her skin. Claire nearly tripped over a tall root and she ground to a halt, adjusting her grip to keep her queen close. That was when she noticed the small knobby points jutting out of the queen's forehead. Claire nearly panicked. Without thinking, Claire reached for the queen's face and brushed her hair aside, thinking an arrow or stone might have pierced her skull. Instead, she found the skin unbroken, along with two small, slightly curving horns. When Claire looked more closely, she noticed smooth, flat scales covering nearly half the queen's neck and spreading across her back and shoulders. They were the telltale sign of a creature distinctly inhuman, things that Claire had only heard of in tavern songs or stories told by the fireside. Why is everyone just offing themselves right now? Hello? Oh my god. The queen's face had not changed though, and her voice was still familiar, even if strained and coarse. Claire committed her majesty's new appearance to her heart and held her close. Sorry I wasn't faster, Claire whispered as she climbed a mossy slope toward the sound of rushing water. Had I arrived sooner, your majesty? Galena. The queen's voice reeked out like a strained whisper. Just call me Galena. I'm no one's majesty anymore. No. Claire looked down at Galena with a soft and pensive smile. You're still my queen, regardless of all else that might happen. Galena groaned again and scowled, or at least Claire thought she might have. The whole of Galena's face was smeared in grime and blood and soot, and her eyes glistened like jet. She flailed for a moment, and her first fist fell against Claire's chest, but after that exertion, her grip failed her, and she felt almost limp. She grumbled quietly, and Claire fought to hide her relief as she carried Galena through the wood. I love the, shadows use this backdrop. It's very nice. Where? Oh, right, we're still in the woods. The forest of Camaros set low along the plains and between the highland hills, though not so low that they escaped the sight of the palace towers. As she shifted in her Claire's arms, Galena caught glimpses of the dark stone of the palace through the canopy. For the past 3 years, Galena had paced the narrow chambers of the drugs! Paced the narrow chambers of the drugs! Hold. Sorry. Take your meds if you haven't already. Hold on. Drugs! Woo! Yippee! I gotta refill soon. I'm running a little bit low. Okay. Anyways. Galena had paced the narrow chambers of the East Tower, confined there after speaking out against her father's bloodshed. Then only 13 days ago, she was freed and given the crown that had fallen from her father's severed head. For those past 13 days, she had spent every hour of her time on the throne putting her years of planning into practice, trying to repair the carnage her father had wrought. You needed to take drugs? Drugs are magical, obviously. I don't know about you, but all the good things that have come in my life have come from drugs. The joke is a joke. It's a joke. Please don't take that literally. That's a fucking joke. But 3 arrows and an angry mob had a way of derailing even the most carefully laid plans. As Claire's reached the river's edge, she knelt slowly and lowered going into the ground. She traced the arrows to their wounds, dry blood splattered across each shaft, and all 3 with the distinctive fletching of the Queen's royal guard. Excuse me. Claire moved her hands to Galena's collar and then held them there, hovering over the clasp of her shift. Your Majesty. Her shift. Okay, that's the right word. May I be permitted? Galena sighed. I apologize. She began peeling the once green silk from Galena's shoulders. Hey, yo! Pull the seams from your dress in order to just cut it. Ah! Cut it. Ah! Booba frame 1. Nazi nudity? Okay, okay. With a dragged a great deal of hesitation in her voice, she worked delicately without decay. Delay, slicing what was left of Galena shift into her coat from her body and leaving small scraps around each wound where the blood had already dried. The more she peeled away, the longer Claire lingered over the cuts and wounds across Galena's body, her fingers pausing each time they brushed her skin or the scales along her side. Galena could feel her hesitation and distraction in her touch was at very least an improvement over the pain she felt in her side. Majesty, I promise I'll fetch a new dress for you as soon as we remove these arrows. Galena rolled her head aside and wheezed. She shut her eyes, and a moment later she felt Claire lifting her up again, then slowly lowered her onto a soft cloak spread across the grass. Maybe cold for a moment, I'll work as swiftly as I can. Oh, cute. Often blood dribbled down her chin. Don't bother. Whether Claire heard her or not, she began dipping the scraps of Galena's shift into this river and washing Galena's skin. Slowly, she pulled the crusted blood from her wounds and wiped away the ash and dirt from the scales on her side. Galena thought to command Claire to let her go and leave here where she lay, but the effort of speaking was too much for her to manage. She resigned herself to Claire's care, at least for the time being. Lower than the either buys than you already have? Okay, sick. Oh, front-facing Galena. Sorry, you guys are kind of, like, getting blocked, I realize. Hold on. Let me move down a little bit over here. And then I'll move you guys over here. Front facing Galena. She'll need to push the arrows through, and she, like Leonia, has high-proof spears to disinfect, if even that. It'll hurt like hellfire. Just, if you want to smash her in this game and play the Equilog, might be too risky for stream, but it's totally optional. It doesn't happen often. Duly noted. Oh, good luck, Purple. 11 probably cringed from the pain in her chest. Said something desperate, fussing over her and supporting her head to make her more comfortable. But Galena could hardly focus on her words. Perhaps they'll kill me. Ugh, if only I were so lucky. Claire held Galena upright and out against her as she continued washing the blood around each arrow. As Claire cleaned Galena's back and carefully washed the leaves and dirt from her hair, Galena glanced down at the churning water beside them and searched for her own face. She wasn't as pale as she expected, and the gash she felt on her ear looked little more than a scratch. Though it was hard to make out any details for certain in the coursing water. All things considered, she thought, things hadn't turned out as terribly as she imagined. Then she saw her horns, the black of her eyes, and the deep red scales climbing across her neck. The pain wasn't enough to convince her that sight was more than enough to confirm that all of this somehow was inescapably real. So, like, she wasn't originally that form, I'm taking it. Like, she got transformed or something. Chapter 1 end. 3 years ago, King Brunello of Camarel sent a battalion of soldiers to meet with the mayor and farmers of a small village along the kingdom's border. You'll see? Got it. The rains had come late that year, and the farmers requested the mercy of a delay in their tithing, a request which the king had granted twice before during his rule. That day, however, the king took to the field himself and spoke with a kindly, understanding smile. Buh. Forgive my crudeness, but that is literally just buh. Like, that is buh incarnate. Outside of the, like, that's second best of the buh emote. It just looks like buh to me. Buh. Exactly. Is interesting. It is very interesting. And we only rely on ourselves. And with that, Bruno stabbed the mayor in his gut, dragging his sword down until it scraped against the bone, spilling the mayor's blood across the ground. Bustortion, exactly. It's the act of turning everything into buh. Brunello spoke warmly as he addressed the farmers gathered around. Whoa. Surely there's enough blood within you all to water these fields and feed our kingdom. Blech. All those who did not flee lay dead in their fields. I don't know about you, but I'm outstanding in my field. Cut to me just sitting in a fucking field of grass. Each day that followed, Brunel's cruelty grew and both the subjects and the court of Camero lived in waking terror, fearful that the king would one day slaughter them for the slightest offense. Galena, then owning the princess, confronted her father and demanded that he cede the throne and repent, and that he make penance to the people of the land. Scarecrow joke? Exactly. Scarecrow coded. For her objections, she was locked in the east tower of the palace and given a single straw bed, a single cotton blanket, and a single window through which to view the gradual destruction of the kingdom. Oh god. I'm not gonna say what game this looks familiar from, because I don't know if that would be spoilers. But this looks a lot like a certain scene in a game that I've played recently on stream. This looks very familiar. What's that mirror doing there? Yeah, what's that mirror doing there? Uh-huh. Plotted and planned to escape and overthrow her father, and then one morning those plans became irrelevant. In defiance of the king's... I don't know what you mean. Uh-huh. Yeah. A group of citizens banded together with the royal guard and the few knights who were more loyal to the kingdom than his crown. Bottom of the chat like that one did? That would be really fucking funny. Almost every soldier abandoned the palace and left the king intentionally defenseless. Oh, what you said... I'm gonna get you, Gremlin. I'm gonna get you, Gremlin. Oh my god. One of these days I'm gonna have a SOS stream and you're gonna have to deal with the consequences. That is Celeste. Not really a consequence, but like, you know. Swear jar? Yeah, okay. Bruno was captured, beheaded, and his body burned in the capital square that once bore his name. That same day, as Brunel's head rolled across the throne room floor, Knight Captain Marcelin picked up his bloody crown and placed it in Galena's hands. She could still remember the surreal abruptness of it all as she sat on her father's throne, and her optimistic certainty that the kingdom and his people could finally begin to heal. Pain like lightning raked across Galena's ribs as the first arrow pierced her back. She might have screamed, though her ears were ringing so loudly that the only thing she could hear was her own ragged pulse. Ah, damn. That's not a swear. I'm sorry. We're pickly. Pickly? Okay, we're pickling Galena. Claire quickly pressed a pad of gauze over the now clear and open wound as she tossed the broken arrow aside. I'll move more carefully with the next. Galena grabbed her hand, squeezing it until strength left her fingers. Claire squeezed back gently and with restraint. Galena panted. Just do it quickly. I don't care how much it hurts. Just hurry. Claire opened her mouth but didn't speak. After bowing her head, she adjusted her grip again to get a better hold of Galena, a hand across her hips and holding her upright against Claire's chest. Sorry, I don't think y'all would know this. Putting her in a jar? Yes. She's getting pickled. I think, okay, we're pickling chatter to the bite responses. That would be really funny. That'd be really funny. Oh my god. I was gonna say, I don't know if y'all know this, but as a stim thing, I tend to like scroll my mouse wheel up and down, and I accidentally scrolled up, which went back in the visual novel. So if you see me accidentally do that, ignore it. Into couch mode, switches the couch and chair instead of a potential cuck chair. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Goddamn. Against Claire's chest, another supporting her side and preparing to push another arrow through her skin. Around the time, he's doing that thing again. Poor Cade not in the cuck chair. I don't think it's a bad thing. Around the time, Galena felt the second arrow snap, her vision went black and she tasted blood dripping into her mouth. She spat into the river. Claire asked if she was alright. Galena may have grunted something in reply. Sleep on the cuck chair? I don't have a cuck chair! What do you mean? You live on the cuck chair? There's a difference between living and sleeping on it, I guess. I'm cuck maxing right now. You know what? You know what? Great. I'm happy for you. Fuck's sake. Ah! I swore. God dang it. Ah! Okay, what do you want, Squid? Soon another burning pain pierced her back as the last arrowhead broke through her skin and Claire pulled it out cleanly. All of Gwena's body was reduced to the ache of those 3 wounds and the firm pressure of Claire's hands holding her in place. Your Majesty, I'm sorry. KAI truck, I cannot do that. Claire's voice was so delicate. Galena could... Rat. Galena could barely hear her over the babbling river. Claire shifted her hands again to hold Galena more gently and keep the pressure off of her side, all the while keeping her head bowed and her eyes low. It's fine. Glena's panting as she watched the river run past her. Added to the wheel? No. It didn't hurt as much as you might think. Oh my god, I'm gonna explode. I have... Y'all know how, like, you get the feeling, was to be added? That's what I was gonna do if I did add it. I'll be so fucking for real. Get spinning? Okay, one sec. I was gonna say, I'm getting that feeling against KEI truck. Nothing. I'm just a spiteful individual. And I don't like the way Squid's asking for it. So I'm being spiteful about it. Mirror's a contrarian? Yep. Yep. What feeling are you getting? Oh, yes. You know that feeling where, like, your throat starts feeling, like, almost pointy when you start to get a sore throat? That's what I'm starting to get. And I'm gonna morb. I'm gonna heckin' morb. Don't you get sick. I know! That's my problem! I don't want to get sick. But I have that feeling in the back of my throat. And I'm hoping it's, like, not sickness and it's just I need to drink water. I'm gonna drink water. I'm drinking water. We just had that one. Do you want me to respin it or do you want another hear me out? Yes, okay. Are you serious? Terraria. Terraria stream. Okay. I guess we'll be doing a Terraria stream soon then. Soon TM. That'll probably be on Monday then. Oh no, you hate Terraria. I do! Anyways, it didn't hurt as much as you might think. It was a lie, but Galena couldn't stand to see Claire feeling guilt over her already getting attached. She tried to turn her head and grin, but she felt miserably and her lips twisted up in a painful grimace instead. Then she felt Claire holding her tighter, wrapping her arms further around and pressing her forehead against Galena's back. I'm sorry, had I been with you when escorting the caravan? Stop. Galena sighed. Had you been with me, they'd have locked you up, or worse. You've already saved me once before. I don't want you dying just to try it again. Claire glanced away and then closed her eyes calmly. I would so gladly if I forbid it. Galena coughed and wheezed, but she didn't yield. I forbid you to die for me, Claire. Is that understood? Claire's face twisted up and her voice was ill at ease, but nevertheless she conceded. Very well, your majesty. Good. Galena finally let the tension out of her shoulder. Claire returned to cleaning Galena's wounds, spending a quiet hour washing the dirt and muck from the scrapes along her skin and pulling the thorns from her hair. At some point, Galena had the presence of mind to wonder why Claire hadn't been shocked to see her horns and tail. Galena herself had certainly been stunned in silence when earlier that morning she found out she had a demon's blood in her. Oh my god. Perhaps Claire had been alarmed in a moment when Galena was too nearly unconscious to notice. Although if there were anyone to take this in stride, it would be Claire. After a time, both of them realized that Claire had just been watching the same... Remy! Oh my gosh, Remy, hi! Thank you for the raid. How was your stream? Oh my god, raccoons after the mods, raccoons after the mods, raccoons after the mods. Thank you for the raid. How was your stream? How was Subnautica 2? Hello, hello, hello. Hi, I'm Mayo, the Mothra Manager at your service. I hope you had a wonderful stream. I am currently playing an Oath and Kind of Yuri visual novel, and um we're getting to the point where the characters are starting to show some sort of interest into each other. So I'm really excited. Or at least as far as I can tell, the two main characters. But yeah, we literally just got like a mini like reveal that like apparently the Galena, the princess, has like demon blood inside of her, and she like transformed into a demon vaguely, as far as I can tell. Hey, focus of Nautica 2 kept crashing, so I need to upgrade his PC to stream that. No, you know what? That's so freaking real though. But yeah, yeah. That's so unfortunate though. I'm sorry. Well, I hope you had a wonderful stream despite that. That dog demon in her. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You got the werewolf inside. You got that dog in you. Got that dog in you. But yeah, I want to play some Nautica 2. I'm waiting for it to go on sale. I am waiting for it to go on sale, but I really wanted to go on to play it soon because it seems really fun. But yeah. I'll try and catch up where necessary. But yeah, thank you. And also, if you need to raid and run, I completely understand. I appreciate the raid though. Has rabies? Oh, that's probably not a good thing. Probably should get that checked out. Not gonna lie. After a time, both of them realized that Claire had just been washing the same patches of skin over and over, almost in an absent-minded circle, as if she were smoothing over a crease in silk sheets. Oh god, Claire down horrendous. Claire down horrendous. Pretty sure I'm close to being able to push for a love affiliate. Oh, hell yeah. Congrats. Oh my god, I wish you luck. I will try and support you the best I can. But unfortunately, it seems I stream after you, so I don't think I'd be able to quite securely support outside of just simple shoutouts and stuff. But I wish you the best of luck, Remy. Thank you for the raid again. I appreciate it. Tanaka 2 is gonna get this 1.1 update in a few weeks. Oh hell yeah. I mean, to be fair, like in regard to Claire, like I've realized that like there's like something intimate about like taking care of someone's wounds in a certain way. Like I can see where this is going because it definitely feels very intimate in a way because you're seeing someone at their most vulnerable while helping them like heal and like recover. It's definitely something there. My aromantic ass perception of it, at least. I don't know. Anyways. Claire stopped herself quickly and went back to preparing a dressing for Galena's wounds, leaving Galena stare at the forest beside her. Paramedic moment. Hey, look. Her shift and surcoat were in tatters and strewn across the riverbank, and the mud had turned her petticoat into a tangled mash of bustled lace that would likely never be functional again. The sight of them all made her weary. Didn't know who else to raid, so I'm like, let's raid this moth playing Yuri having a Pride Month charity event. Hell yeah! I am honored that you decided to raid me. I am very humbled, so to speak. Could be intimate. Yeah, okay. I have a vague understanding of it. But yeah, I also again I wish you luck with your affiliate journey. As Galena slowly filled her lungs with air and winced as her ribs shifted, she watched Claire prepare a salve out of the corner of her eye. When you are well enough, I will contact the Night Captain for aid, and perhaps we can stay in the Winter Palace until you recover. As Claire tested a drop of the salve against her own skin, Galena laughed, or at least she tried to laugh, while a sound like a boar's grunt issued from her throat. That's not likely to do us any good. 2 of those arrows in my side were from Marceline herself. And at that, Claire's face sank, and for the first time that day, Galena saw her truly at a loss. Very much isn't always. Yeah, emphasis on can. Yeah, very much emphasis on can. No. Claire's voice fell and splintered. Even the Night Captain? Why? Galena coughed, and her lips spread into a wry grin. Oh, you smug motherfucker. You smug motherfucker. Like, y'all see that, right? Oh my god. called Boob at not just now, by the way. Boob at? Boob at where? Boobs where? Sorry. Um, as it happens, my grandmother was a high demon. I gather there's more to it than that, but I learned of it this morning about the same time Marceline and the rest of the royal guard heard the news. I don't imagine. Going to cough sharply and gasp for breath. That they were keen on having another demon on the throne after what my father did to them. Claire shook her head. But she swore an oath. She promised her loyalty to you, and then she tried to kill you because you've got a tail? Enough, Claire. Wait aside. I'll not blame her. She never swore her fealty to a demon. No, she swore to you. Claire leaned over and took Galina's hand, holding it firmly. The same as I have. Were you a dungeon dragon or a wolf or a spider, I'd stand by you still. What would my bond mean if it were so fragile? Claire. Galina tried to lift her hand to admonish Claire somehow and tell her that she had no obligations to serve a queen who had lost her crown, but she didn't have the will. When she met Claire's eye and saw the desperation there, Galina lost every thought in her mind. She turned back to face the sky, and after a long moment, she looked away. As much as she would rather be left in the forest where she lies, she couldn't stand to hear that soft pang in Claire's voice. She decided to offer up a distraction. We still need to disinfect the wounds. Oh, oh, oh. Oh! Claire quickly snapped to attention and sifted through the satchel for a flask of clear spirits. Yes, I apologize. I'll dress the wounds presently. I'm sorry in advance for the pain this will cause. It's fine. I'm gonna squeeze slightly. Just get it over. Ah! Spirits poured over her raw wounds and burned like molten steel. She might have fallen unconscious momentarily, though the pain made it hard to be certain. Whatever the case, she thought back to the events of that morning, and she realized that sometimes the difference between a nightmare and a memory was only the safety of knowing that nightmares weren't real. Damn. Marceline, Your Majesty. Marceline had called earlier after the dawn that morning. The leader of the citizen militia requested an audience. She insisted on seeing her right away, but Wayne hadn't hesitated. Oh, yeah, she looks way different. Erin has done a great deal for us all. I won't force her to wait. Yes, Your Majesty. The Knight Captain bowed. She has arrived at several villages of the former Duchy of Albarossa. Would that be a problem? Claire tensed at Galina's side, but Galina herself saw no cause to worry. No, I'll meet with them presently. Your Majesty. Carried a note on her voice that Galina knew as a sign of caution, perhaps a bit of clumsy fondness. Galina sighed and smiled, placing a hand on Claire's shoulder. I'm sure it has little to do with the late Duke. I doubt any of his people will feel any lingering loyalties to that man. Claire still wavered on the edge. But if they're Your Majesty, the Duke tried to kill you. Galina shrugged. And you protected me. But if any of them still harbor the Duke's will, they may have wished him to take the throne instead, and so, Claire. The Knight Captain stamped her scabbard onto the stone floor and glowered. I've never heard the use of the word glowered. Though your loyalty is appreciated, you would do well to defer to Her Majesty's decisions. Claire glanced aside, clearly stifling a protest. In that moment, at least, Galina remembered very clearly fighting to hold back her laughter. She didn't mean to laugh at Claire, but the sight of her standing there bashful and impatient, a full head taller than Marceline, with a far more imposing silhouette, was mildly endearing to say the least. I apologize. Claire left her hand slip away from the pommel of her sword. Glaring times 10? Oh, got it. Your Majesty, it is as you wish. Good. Galina grinned. Then, if you'll please accompany me, Claire. Claire bowed. Of course. Your Majesty, if I may. Marceline interrupted as Galina took a step toward the hall. Claire's suspicions may not be entirely unfounded, but even if not in the manner she suspects. Galina's brow arched up. Oh? Marceline bowed slightly. Your Majesty, Claire killed Albarossa. Though it was in defense of Your Majesty, the Duke still died by her hand. While I've heard no rumor of enmity toward you over his death, I could not say the same for Claire. Excuse me. It is not impossible that the members of the Duke family might still be among the villagers and they may harbor ill will. Galina took a moment to consider and closed her eyes. Very well. What do you propose? Claire could ride an escort of the caravans that are leaving this capital, the capital of the Sour for rest in the western villages. There's little threat of banditry, and the trip should take the best part of a day. But it will see her far from the palace should anyone demand her punishment. Galina nodded. Yes, and in the meantime, should any such call arise, I can address it directly, Claire. Claire took a breath and calmed herself, bowing deeply. Yes, Your Majesty. Thank you. Galina smiled fondly as she lowered her head and then took her leave. Marceline, please let Erin know I'm on the way. The Knight Captain bowed and left the room without remark. Within minutes, Galina sat on her father's throne and greeted the hero of the recent uprising. Despite being hailed as a hero, Erin was scarcely tall, or young, or dashing. She had once been a blacksmith in a small village until the day King Brunel sent soldiers to collect their tithings. Erin fought the soldiers off on her own in the town and celebrated her as a hero. Within weeks, she was swept up in the calls for revolution that rose across the kingdom. Even knowing all of that, Galena found it hard to believe that this woman was one found to be cut her father's head from his shoulders. It was almost even harder for her to believe just how grateful Galena was for his death. Almost. As Erin approached the throne, Galena took stock of citizens who accompanied her: an elderly woman, three men who seemed at a glance to be farmers, and a slight man nearly Galena's age with a heavy sheaf of papers folded in his arm pressed against his chest. Had she known what those papers might reveal, Galena might not have entered the room with such calm and abandon. Then again, as she told herself now, even if she had known, she would never believe it to be true. Oh, fun. Time to figure out you're a demon, or part demon, rose as soon as the group approached. Erin, please approach. Thank you, your majesty. I do like the idea of abstracted faces in the form of people that either she doesn't entirely remember or doesn't necessarily like hold weight to. I think that's really interesting. Erin nodded and she led her party to the foot of the stairs just 3 paces from the throne. Those with me today are citizens from Albarossa, or the former duchy's area. Queen smiled. Erin wasn't particularly accustomed to speaking in court, though she made an admirable effort. Anyhow, they wanted to thank you first for giving them the Duke's estate and dividing up his wealth and things. Galena nodded slightly. I hardly need thank for returning what was stolen from the people in the first place. It is the crown's responsibility to repair the damage my father and his dukes wreaked upon us all. Yes, but still. Erin glanced aside, something straining her voice like a music box turned forced to turn too quickly. Thank you. Because of that, we were able to look through the Duke's account and ledgers. Galena's eyes widened. She pressed a smile. That's wonderful news. His ledgers may help us track the treasures and ties he stole and secreted away these past 3 years. Ah, yes. Erin nodded awkwardly. That they may, but that isn't particularly what we found. Erin motioned toward the man with the sheaf of papers, and he stepped forward with more than a little hesitation. Ah, you see, your majesty, the scribe bowed, his hands trembling slightly. We were reading through the Duke's ledgers, and we found that Erin interrupted. Duke Albarossa had been planning to oust Brunello on his own so that he could take the crown. Galena nodded. That would have been in his character without question. He even tried to kill me shortly after my father's death. Fortunate that he did not succeed, is it not? She waited and watched the faces of all those before her, studying each expression for the slightest hint of any animosity or spite that might arise at the mention of the Duke's death. Brought great pain, get abstracted, unclear faces in her memory. Interesting. I can see that as well. That's probably the more accurate depiction. She saw none, and in what she thought may have been the greatest moment of foolishness in her life, she took that as a sign of safety. When Galena let her shoulders relax, Erin continued. The Duke had some papers, not his own, but things he'd taken from the royal scribes over the years. Erin's face twisted uneasily. It seems the Duke had plans to raise his own rebellion against the late king by claiming that Brunel was born of a high demon. Galena barely even blinked. Well, it would have hardly taken much more to convince any of that, given his cruelty, yes. And it would have been a simple case to make because it happens to be true. The air seemed to crack, and Galena felt as if her lungs were filled with frost. 2 members of the royal guard at her side moved forward, their hands gripped tight around their pikes. Preposterous! The senior guard stepped down to block Erin from the queen, but Galena motioned him away. Erin. Galena held her in a heavy gaze. Explain. Erin didn't flinch. Your grandmother, the late Gregory, was a high demon. She said it so plainly that Galena could barely react. Erin pulled a few pages from the sheaf and handed it to Marcelin for inspection. Albarossa found record of the contract signed between Gregory and your grandfather in exchange for blood for power and unwavering devotion. The Duke believed that this was how Queen Gregory was able to drive out the northern invasion so easily, and also why so many young girls were made to work in the palace only to never return. By then, Galena's brow had creased and she felt her nerves splintering like old timber. I won't deny her cruelty, nor my father's, but I must ask again. Took a steady breath to herself. Breath to steady yourself. Why do you raise this point? Erin's voice was still sharp and level. I raise it because it means that Brunello shared that demon's blood. That blood was the root of his tyranny, and that also means that you, too, are the child of a demon. The blood lives on in you. Silence followed as Erin's word crashed against the walls. The royal guards held the ground, but Galena could see their feet shift uneasily. She clenched her fists tight, though only to keep them from shaking. Again, I will not deny my family's cruelty, but I am not my father, and regardless of what blood he may have borne, his viciousness was of his own design. The villagers with Erin glanced aside, unwilling to meet the queen's eyes with Erin, while Erin, still holding firm, took another step towards her. The Duke found record of a charm which your family has used to hide your demonic features since your grandmother's reign. The jewels in your crown and the pendant you wear. You believe these things made you look as human as any of us. If your blood is no cause for alarm, why would you hide your true face in that way? At that, Galena snorted. Now you're truly being preposterous. I was without a crown for years. I take it off each night. I believe I know if I had a horns or a tail. For a man in a position of power that happened to have demon blood, that is a fair point. We do not necessarily know. If I had to bet, it's probably the latter. And your pendant? Breath caught in her throat. What of it? Aaron glanced at the gleaming amber gem that rested in the center of Glena's chest. I've heard that you're never without it, even when you're asleep. Galena scowled. Because it is the only keepsake I have of my late mother. The elder green woman with hair and head that approached the steps. She died giving birth to you, didn't she? Her voice was creaking and low. I worked in the place at the time. As soon as we heard you crying through the halls, they sent every one of us away. Every tenant forbidden from tending your mother until 3 days later. When we finally permitted, the old woman's wrinkled shut. A trace of bitterness and nostalgia. I still remember hearing the news as the ladies in waiting whispered in the halls. It was so tragic. Queen Fortuna had been so young, but this is why she died. Humans cannot survive the birth of a demon child. Enough! Galena pushed her way past her guards and clutched her pendant. This is absurd! Duke Alberoso was a scoundrel and a cur, and my father was a cruel and evil man of his own will, not because of his blood. If this is what it takes to prove that to you, then so be it. Swift snapped. Galena pulled the pendant from her neck, and the chain that held it broke and fell on the floor. As she dropped the pendant in Aaron's hand, she heard her guards gasp. The floors and columns of the throne room were carved from dark stone, and there were no mirrors in sight. But even without them, Galena saw what everyone else had in shock. Sharp bones parted the hair on her scalp, hard scales covered the skin on her neck and her sides, and beneath her dress a thick, bristled tail flicked back and forth, outside of her control. Clattering steel echoed through the chamber as one of the royal guards dropped his pike and backed against the nearest wall. His partner remained, turning her pike to face Galena as she stood staggering, her trembling fingers touching the horns on her head with as much dread as disbelief. Her heart raced and her pulse throbbed against her skull, and for what seemed like an endless moment, her mind went blank. Then she felt the hands clasped around her wrist, and her arms were stretched behind her back. Marceline. Galena stared in gaping awe, her arms too limp to resist as her own knight captain bound her hands with a leather cord. Marceline, why? I didn't... The knight captain didn't answer, but her eyes were cold as stone. Galena already knew, far better than most, that no one there in her throne room was willing to risk their families to the whim of another tyrant. She hung her head. I swear to you, I never knew. I was never told, not for a single moment. Don't speak. Aaron glowered, her voice crackling like embers. We're not here to let another member of your family manipulate us, not for another day. Then I'll step down. If you do not trust me to rule, then I'll give up the crown. Aaron turned to leave, and the rest in the room followed her as Marceline dragged the queen along. Marceline whispered as they marched through the palace halls. Your crown is already forfeit, now the people need to know the truth. Everything after that moment swirled together in Glena's memory like a palette of paint smeared with pitch. Once they crossed the palace threshold, she started to resist, but by then Marceline and Aaron were joined by most all the knights in garrison, along with the majority of the royal guard. Those who didn't stand with them simply stood by, watching as the demon queen flailed and pleaded her innocence. For some numbers of hours, Galena was held in the city square as a guard stood at her side, slowly lowered the crown onto her head, then removed it to show the people her transformation. Just past noon, the royal guard raised a stake on a makeshift stage, and Galena soon found herself at the center of her own funeral pyre. She thrashed and screamed as piles of kindling and tinder burned around her. Looking back, she wasn't entirely sure how she had summoned the strength to break the cord bound her wrist. Looking back, she wasn't even sure why she had bothered. Whatever mix of terror and desperation drove her, she threw herself from the stages and ran. First arrow didn't slow her, but the second sent her stumbling, and the third knocked her clean onto her side. From there, she could only piece together memories of the forest, scenes out of time, and with nothing to tie them together. The next coherent thought she could hold in her mind came to her as she saw Claire raising her from the mud. She thought at that moment without doubt or reservation. I should have burned. Jesus! Fucking Christ, dude. Yummy trauma. Yippee! I love trauma! Holy moly. Ah. That Ah, that fucking sucks. I love my trauma sprinkled into my supposed Yuri. This better have a happy ending. As I'm watching you. I'm watching you. Your Majesty, I apologize for the poor quality of the dress, but stop. Galena leaned against Claire as they walked along the forest trail. Galena now wearing one of Claire's simple tunics and a pair of trousers stained with grass and clay. Her tail, refusing to cooperate for even a moment, was flitting about through a hole Galena had torn beneath her waistband. I'm feeling faint again. Claire held Galena's arms, supported her gently. Excuse me. Please allow me to carry you, Your Majesty. You shouldn't be walking so soon and... No, not walking. Galena huffed and drew a painful breath. Without calling me Your Majesty, I told you I've been deposed. Claire's brow furrowed. And something as she always was and never knew, and immediately all her eyes turned on her, save for her closest ally. Ooh, unfortunately common in history, is it not? Illegitimately. Galena laughed through a cough. If they tried to give me the crown back now, I wouldn't take it, so it hardly matters. If you need a better reason, then think of how quickly Marceline and the Royal Guard will find me and string me up for execution if you keep announcing me in public. Claire's mouth hung open, but she didn't argue. It wasn't that she disliked the idea of calling the Queen by her name, but she couldn't stand the thought of denying that she was still Her Majesty. Still, because Her Majesty insisted, she would not disobey. Galena. There, she's blushing. Smug. Since this morning has snickered to herself. It's not that hard, you know. You don't have to keep that pain and puzzled look on your face. I'm not... Claire wrinkled up her nose and steadied herself. I have no such expression. You did very much so. It reminded me of the times when I would chance upon you practicing swordplay with that broken twig when we were children. Claire cleared her throat. Claire cleared her throat. It is not my preference to conceal your station, but for the sake of your safety and because you wish it, I will call you as you will. Really? Claire nodded. I will not say such a thing were I unwilling. Galena grinned. Then call me Gowie, the way you did before you joined the order. Cute! A prickling sort of warmth crept across Claire's neck as she remembered a scene from her youth. She had scarcely been 9 years of age when she happened across a pretty girl in the city gardens. In truth, she hadn't even known Galena was a princess at the time and had called her Gowie without a second's thought. It was a fond and familiar name, but it had been years since they had spoken so casually. Claire wasn't sure her heart could take it. Very well. And you got the happy ending. Hey, I don't know. I'm too used to doomed Yuri, okay? Claire stopped where she stood and looked down at her queen, her lips struggling against her voice. Gowie? Hee. Galena nearly doubled over laughing as she had to hold the gaze against her side. She had spat a bit of blood from her mouth, but even so, she was grinning wide. You've such a look of astonishment on your face, Claire. It's so odd to call me by my name. It wasn't, and in fact, it had once been so natural that Claire had to rein herself, and each time she formed the syllables on her tongue. It wasn't as if she'd never spoken her queen's name in the years since she's joined the order, mostly in exasperated sighs or in the midst of anxious pacing, but above a whisper and certainly not to Galena herself. Claire could feel sweat gather on her palms. No, I need to remain calm. I need to sound more natural if I'm to call Her Majesty by name so often so directly. This may take some measure of practice. My apologies. Claire finally spoke once she felt she was reasonably able to hold her voice steady. Gowie, very good. Galena leaned against Claire and wrapped an arm around her neck. Then, with that matter addressed, I believe I will avail myself of your offer to carry me, for the time being. Claire hesitated as she placed an arm around Galena's waist. She chided herself silently, determined not to show any sign that her hands moved reverently rather than with any critical precision. Whatever her feelings on the matter, the queen was correct. Any sign of deference, any show of obedience, or any act of fealty could expose them both to danger. Claire tried to concentrate on acting casually, which would have been far easier task had Galena not been humming and teasing her with sly grins at every opportunity. Smug motherfucker. I swear to God. Quite a bit more forward than usual. Claire hosted Galena up in her arms, and Galena paused to think for a moment. True enough, but perhaps lying so close to death has made me giddy. Or perhaps it is merely knowing that I've no longer any obligation to keep my appointments of the Baron Pinot, about his plans for a cantilevered cattle pulley. Claire could scarcely stop herself from snickering. That sounds like a profoundly ill-fated device. Indeed, but Claire, you could scarcely raise a case against me. Galena grinned. Smug motherfucker. I swear to God. This smug bastard. I swear to God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I need to make you guys smaller. I'm covering Claire's face. Sorry. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. Give him the demon blood? True, actually. That's actually very true. I didn't even think about that. You had me in your arms about an hour ago after stripping off my shift and all of my undergarments. Tripped over nothing at all. She every topo, stumbling to find her balance again. Uh-huh. Yeah. Fucking just like me for real, for real? When it wouldn't fall from her grip, Claire looked her in the eye and stammered out all the broken pieces of thoughts that tangled in her mind. Your Majesty, I swear I only did such a thing. I mean, Gowie. Claire took a breath, her skin already flushed. That strictly was in order that I might remove the arrows and beyond that I would never have considered even for the slightest breath of a second had circumstances allowed in peace, my Claret? Cute! Cute, 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 adorable. Galena smiled softly. I did not mean to accuse. I suffered injury neither from your hands nor your eyes. Particularly since I was the one who had insisted to cut my shift away in the first place. I voiced my complaints, and your care is not among them. Claire took a step and considered Galena's words. She took 3 paces, paused another moment, and then carried on slowly, carefully moving him through the forest. You truly still wish I had left you there? Galena leaned her head back and looked through the boughs of the trees. I suppose it's too soon to say. In that moment when you found me, I was certain that I wanted to be left for dead. Say that again? Sorry. Excuse me. Rather, I was certain I would have rather died when Marceau had shot me, since there had been moments in which I felt glad to be yet breathing, and moments when I wished I'd never tried to escape, and when I was certain to burn in the city square. I don't know. Winnie shut her eyes and tucked her head close against Claire's chest. I don't know. Perhaps I feel a single way about this thing in time. As it is now, I can hardly tell where the next hour will find me. Without realizing, Claire found herself holding Galena closer. Cute. As they left the forest trail and found their way to a quiet road, Claire let her hands relax as she searched for some form of distraction. We should seek an inn. If we can rely on neither the order nor the royal guard, then we may need to hide or else flee. In either case, I believe it best if we plan after we've had a meal and a night's rest. We're going to close her eyes again to think. I agree. At present, I would like nothing more than a pillow and a loaf of honeyed bread. We'll need to be inconspicuous, though. Claire let me down a moment. Claire lowered Galena gently, still holding her by the waist and supporting most of her weight. Are you certain? I am not yet weary. Galena blinked. If I knew you any less, I'd swear that you lie. You're the only woman I know who could ride half a day, then run through a whole forest without stopping even for a breath. Is that not expected? Claire looked sincerely baffled. All knights in service to Yor, that is, all knights of the order should be able to do as much as if need arose. Somehow. Galena spoke with the faintest trace of a grin. I think you may be the only one of our order who would, even under better circumstances. Cute. They know each other so well. For as often as it has happened, Claire still wasn't entirely accustomed to such compliments. In the first place, she had always credited her height and size for most of her alleged capability, and neither of those were skills she had gained through training. Even her parents, whoever they might have been, could hardly have decided that she would become a gigantic horse of a girl. While she was the tallest knight in the order and blessed with the strongest sturdy frame, she was always felt odd when members of the nobility pointed out that as a compliment. Oh my god, I am burping so much right now. I'm so sorry. The only exception, of course, was Galena. Whenever she praised Claire for her strength or endurance of her accomplishments, it always felt sincere, as if she was saying because it is you rather than because you're so tall, or because you have such broad shoulders. Claire was grateful, though it seemed to her a silly reason to feel gratitude. Your cloak. Wina repeated herself for the second time, snapping Claire out of her wonderings. No burping ASMR. It's not meant to say ASMR! I can't help it. Dude, I have, like, gastrointestinal stuff. I can't help it. This is glurp shit. Oh my god. The one you laid by the river's shore, do you still have it? Oh. What? Oh. Claire shook her head quickly. Yes, of course. She dug through her satchel and pulled the rumpled cloak out, holding it up for Galena's inspection. Good, this will do. Wrapped the cloak around herself and fastened its clasp, pulling the hood over her horns. We'll need to be as inconspicuous as we can if we're to appear in public, of course. Claire bowed her head, but a firm hand pressed against her forehead. It means none of that. Went aside, gently pushing Claire's head back upright. It would do no good for you to call me Gowie, only to bow in front of everyone. We will ride as traveling companions, and traveling companions do not bow obediently to one another as the slightest request. That, Claire steeled her nerves, forcing herself not to bow again. Will be difficult, but I will do as you wish. Queena snorted, smug. Claire cleared her throat. Stop saying Claire cleared! And pointed down the road. She would need significantly more practice if she was going to be properly discreet. There should be a traveler's inn near a bend in the road up ahead. Very good, then let us go. Face grabbing? The roadside inn, named the Sleeping Boar for the owner's drowsy pot-bellied pet, cute, was just crowded enough to provide anonymity while still affording them an open room. Claire had to use the better half of her coin purse to secure the single small room, which was, by all accounts, a luxury compared to the Forest Hollow. After a quick exchange with the tavern keep, she had 2 plates of bread and stew in hand, along with 2 pints of small ale. Damn! That sounds like such a nice dinner, low-key. Especially after going through literal hell and near regicide. That is low-key kind of nice. The room itself seemed little more than an empty storage closet fitted with a bed, a single stool, and a wobbling nightstand. At the very least, the bed seemed reasonably soft. Yummy regicide. I mean, true. I'm all for regicide, but all things considered, being in that scenario, that sounds quite nice. While the 2 of them finished their meals, Claire thought nothing odd of their surroundings. When Gwena began to yawn, however, Claire finally noticed that which should have been obvious to her from the moment she first opened the door. There was only a single bed! Oh my god. I'm looking. I'm looking as. I am looking. Oh my god. Almost us last time. Oh my fucking god. I know. Oh my god. What is your defense as? Because. Oh my god. Sad about that? Yeah, you're sad about the single bed, not about the fucking seeing me, huh? I see how it is. Oh my god. Sometimes you're broke with your suspicious gal pal on the run and you already paid up the ass to get a room and all. Uh-huh. Yeah, and there was only one bed. And there was only one bed. Oh dear. Very well. I've slept on far more uncomfortable floors than this. Immediately books it for the floor. I respect it. Tender Her Majesty before we can rest, though. You're Gowie. We should check your bandages. I may need to change them before we settle in for the evening. Oh, yes, of course. Lena rose from her seat with some effort and held her side as she hobbled over to the bed, sitting first and then slowly lowering herself onto her back. She breathed slowly and deliberately, all her concentration seemingly set on keeping her hands steady at her sides. Gingerly, Claire pulled Galena's tunic up from the waist and raised it above to see blood-stained fabric wrapped around her ribs. She moved her fingers carefully, both to avoid causing pain and to keep her own hands from lingering on Galena's skin. Claire chided herself again and narrowed her focus to the patches of gauze, taking great pain to ignore the curve of Galena's back or the line of her hips as she changed the dressing on her wound. Uh-huh. Really taking your time there, uh-huh. Tender wound cleaning, twitch, nothing uncaught here, uh-huh. Yeah. When Claire was sufficiently satisfied that all the bleeding had stopped for the moment, after that healing salve was properly fixed to every scrap and cut on McQueen's body, she stood back and turned away. I believe your wound should heal in no time. In time, so long as you can rest. She spoke facing far while Claire moved mechanically, first pulling off what armor she still wore and then dressing down to her undershirt and trousers. When the game has Yuri in it, I can be okay. There could be Yuri in my game, but I'm still gonna be a smug motherfucker about it. Like, I don't care. They're like Yuri in the Yuri game is expected, but I'm still gonna be a smug motherfucker about it. Like, you cannot stop me. There is no stopping me from being this way. I literally this is literally me watching any fucking like TV show that has any semblance of romance in it, just being a smug little shit because it entertains me. So you don't be surprised. Galena yawned again, cut off sharply by a painful gasp. I'm not entirely certain I believe that, but regardless, thank you, Claire. Bite. Wait, did I skip some? No. A biting warmth gripped the back of the Claire's neck, and she fiddled easily with a button on her shirt. Was to get a kiss, and yes, she reacted every time we got a smooth. This is the way. Exactly. This is the way. It's because like I just don't expect the way they do it. Okay, I get really excited seeing people kiss because it's very cute and precious. My my airways ass is allowed to be a smug little shit and react excitedly when the couple does finally kiss because it's adorable. Fight me on that. I will die on this hill. And she phoned needlessly with a button on her shirt. Personality pretty well. Excuse you? A smug little shit? Is that it? I ain't fighting. No, I know. I know you're defending me. I'm just saying that to everyone else. That's for the peanut gallery. That's for your fucking classmates sitting to your right and left. God. You know, sometimes I do imagine that my streams are like me like just teaching in the front of a classroom because it's like I'm a small enough streamer that like the viewership is literally just like a bunch of like it's just like a small classroom. And I think it's really funny to just imagine myself just standing in the front of a room while everyone else is just hanging out doing their thing in the classroom. That's how I imagine it. And I think it's really silly. Being called out here? What? No. Really? You really think so? Or the jester in the hall? It's probably the second one. It's probably the jester in the hall. But I think it's cuter to think it's the teacher in the classroom. But you're probably right. It's probably the jester in the hall, I guess. Fucking dance for me. Dance for me, jester. Me. Stream for me, streamer. Anyways, you hardly need thank me. I've merely followed my oath, and my dressings are far from skillful. Claire. Lena sounded impatient, or at least agitated enough that Claire could feel her gaze. I thank you because I'm grateful. When Claire turned back to face her, she found her glowering. Has nothing to teach us? True. True. The teacher is Seribot? Fuck, you're right. Seribot's the king here. Seribot's the royal. I am the jester for the royal that is Seribot. Please do not make my gratitude seem frivolous by casting your aid as something trite. Ugh, my apologies. Claire half bowed and stopped herself, rising with the bashful face of a smile. How much it gets big. Fair point. I'll take greater care in the future. Lena sighed, and her head sank into the room's only pillow. Though Lena had said nothing, Claire couldn't keep herself from feeling as she disappointed her in some way. Hiccup. Keep her mind away from such thoughts, she busied herself unfurling a bedroll, packing her spare clothing into the rough form of a lumpy pillow, and preparing to turn in for the night. When she stood again to check the lock on the door, she found Galena leaning up on her elbows and glaring in bewilderment. Claire, what in the lady's name are you doing? Claire looked between her bedroll and her queen, entirely at a loss. Bah! I prepared for bed, should I not? Galena was glaring sternly. Get in my bed now! Claire, don't be so stubborn. There's hardly space on the floor to you to sit, let alone stretch your legs. And if we're to travel any distance, you'll need to rest as much as I do. We'll share the bed. Claire stammered. What was the sudden chill against her back? Was it sweat the remnants of her fraying nerves? Look, I've notified. Uh-huh. I know what you are. I know what you are. Her voice cracked unevenly and her eyes darted away. That wouldn't be wise. I may roll or thrash about in my sleep. Lena shot a sidelong glance at her. I won't order you if you insist, but you don't need to make such excuses unless you're, of course, your sleeping habits have changed drastically in recent months. They hadn't, and Claire suddenly felt the fool for telling a lie so blatant. She could press the matter, of course, but she saw no point. Lena had already caught her. It was hardly a surprise given that Claire had sometimes slept in Lena's bed. Yeah? Particularly during the winter months when the fires burned low and the palace walls gathered frost. On more than one occasion, Queen Brunel had dismissed Galena's lady-in-waiting with little cause and less warning, leaving the then princess to fend for herself in the midst of a blizzard. For safety and comfort, Claire stayed with Galena on those nights. For guard reasons! Sure. For guard reasons, right. It was her duty and above all else a perfectly reasonable course of action. The things she thought and the words she felt as they fell asleep beside one another were all entirely irrelevant, but damn all the sky if it didn't rack her nerves each and every time. After stalling for another few moments, Claire finally sat at the end of the bed and heaved a weary sigh. All right, it would make more of a reasonable for a more sensible argument if we were attacked in the dead of night. I'll sleep nearest the door. Lena nodded, barely concealing a smirk. Uh-huh. Agreed, though I think it may be yet too soon to expect assassins. Claire fumbled and nearly dropped her sword as she leaned against the bedpost. Fucking me too. I have to be prepared for any peril that might befall you. Lena's lips curled into a sly smile. Do you now? You're teasing me. Claire's eyes narrowed as she carefully lifted Galena and shifted her to the far side of the bed. Yes, I'm enjoying it a great deal. Galena spoke happily and then added with a trace of bitterness on her voice. Though I wonder what has set me in such a mischievous mood. Perhaps that is the effect of the demon's blood in me. You've hardly been devilish, and even if you had... Oh, you've hardly been devilish, and even if you had, I'd still doubt such a claim. Where your bottom is showing. Claire propped the pillow up under Galena's head. You've had the same blood all your life. I cannot see how it would only lead you now to mischief. Claire lowered herself onto the bed beside Galena, her feet still hanging over the edge, and her head cushioned by her now packed bedroll and a small mound of spare linens. Galena glanced at the heap and raised a brow. Is that even comfortable? Claire fluffed the lumpy pillow. It's functional, in a sense. Were I not injured, I'd offer you the pillow in my stead so that we might both sleep comfortably. Cute. Claire blinked. How? You not have a pillow for yourself? Galena's eyes trailed down from Claire's shoulders. I could just as easily rest on your arm or against your chest. Claire felt her ears burning red at the thought of Galena curling up against her chest. She'd never been so glad for the tangled mess of her hair spiraling over her shoulders as she was in that moment. She forced herself to keep her face steady. Gowie, please. Save your worry, dearest knight. Galena held the slightest lilt in her voice. I think I may only pester you to distract myself from my weariness, but I will cease. Good night, Claire. And thank you. Galena smiled. And Claire couldn't keep herself from returning the gesture. She knew well enough that Galena was hiding something, but she also knew that there would be no sense in prying. With a soft stroke, Claire swept the hair from Galena's face to check her temperature one last more time. One last more time? What the hell? Before she pulled the blanket up around them both and snuffed the candle out for the night. It wasn't long before Galena whispered across the pillow. Claire, had you not found me, I'd be dead by now. Claire kept her voice low as she could. I'm only glad I was able to find you quickly, though a doctor or healer would have made her a more helpful rescuer. No. Galena's voice spilled from the dark, and Claire felt the heat of it against her face. I mean that, had it not been you there and force picking me out of the mud, I did not know I would have allowed myself to be rescued. I was so certain that I would not have rather been laying to rest where I fell, but then I saw you, and... She was quiet for a moment, and Claire hesitated to speak. She moved closer, hoping to see if Galena had fallen asleep. Instead, she found her queen's gaze fixed on her, their faces mere inches apart. Galena smiled weakly. You were a mystery at times, Claire. I was certain it'd be best given over to death. But as you've tended to me today, that certainly has faded. I don't think such a thing would have happened that had been anyone else. Is that not strange? She yawned and then winced as her chest rose and stretched against her wounds. Her breathing settled, and she closed her eyes, leaving Claire staring and unable to speak. Claire had no idea how she could possibly have such an effect on anyone, but regardless of the reason, she was glad to hear Galena sounding more at ease. She deserves more at that much at the least. And if I can give her a moment's calm, then my efforts will not be in vain. In truth, though, she deserves much more than calm. Claire watched Galena's chest rise and fall, at first paying careful attention to her wounds and ensuring that their bleeding had truly stopped, and then later simply watching the soft motion of her breathing. Galena had always been like this for as long as Claire had known her. A bit brash and sly, fiercely protective of the people of the kingdom, kinder than she would ever let on, and desperate to hold back the tide of her father's cruelty. Over the years, as her father grew more violent and unpredictable, Galena stretched herself thinner and thinner to guard what she could against his hand. She had never stopped, even after Brunello had locked her in the East Tower, and every day that Claire saw her there she had looked weary and warm behind her smile. Claire wanted more than anything to give Galena a moment's rest, to let her breathe without the thought of a crisis or death hovering near. It was not her place, she knew, but there were times when she wished that she could do more than mere regard Galena's life. She thought that the rest of the order had felt the same. A few even swore as much to her confines in the barracks. But none of those knights had raised their swords to protect Galena. When she thought on that, Claire felt dimmed and empty like a gourd scraped hollow and set out to dry. In the still that followed, with the din of cicadas and crickets humming against the walls, Claire turned her head aside and watched Galena in the darkness. At first, she told her that she was watching to ensure that Her Majesty slept soundly, and then she must keep watch to ensure that Her Majesty was able to sleep through the night. Eventually, she became too weary to provide herself pretext, and she drifted off to sleep again soon after midnight, with her eyes still resting on Galena's face. Chapter 3 end. Cute. Cute. So we went from trauma to like cute, like commitment to like protection, despite the like how rough of a situation that is. That is very cute. And also Galena being a smug little motherfucker. Make sure her wounds are okay. Yeah, exactly. Only flirt with the homie after a near-death experience during terrible physical pain and internal damage. Only a little bit gay. You could get away with it. It's just a little bit gay. You drink water. The one issue with visual novels is I love visual novels, but my voice does die over time, which sucks. I don't have the reading voice for them, but I absolutely love visual novels. It's such a problem. On the plus side though, it forces you guys to read. The whole scheme of playing Yuri visual novels is just to get more people to read, because it's literally just like reading a book. Get heckin' tricked. You guys are forced to read or be susceptible to stories. Anyways, to inject your chapters with literacy. Yep. Evil. Oh, I can't read? Oh, shit. Hate to see it. Galena closed her eyes long before she was able to leave the waking world. Between the dull throbbing pain of her wounds and the strain of all that happened, she found herself ill at ease. Perhaps Galena had thought she could have simply told Claire that she wanted her near to calm her dread. In fact, she wasn't particularly sure why she hadn't just done that. There was a nagging whisper in the corner of her mind, something she might have noticed without issue on a day when she had not been shot 3 times. Oh my god, sorry. Um, shot 3 times after nearly burning at the stake. Difficult thoughts were too much to manage, it seemed, and so Galena drifted into familiar memories instead. She recalled the last time she and Claire had shared a bed over the winter when Galena was still confined to the east tower of the palace. Excuse me. And King had accused Galena's lady-in-waiting of sending covert messages to the leaders of a conspiracy against the crown, which was patently ridiculous. Galena had sent those messages herself, and her lady-in-waiting had less than little to do with them. At least the girl was sent home and no longer forced to remain in the palace in the king's presence, though had been little consolation to her at the time. Ah, perhaps father dismissed her merely to punish me. No, but then why would he not have... Galena stopped herself inside, trying to understand anything that man did as an exercise in exhaustion. There were kinder memories to weigh against the present, and Galena pulled them into the surface one after another, turning each one over and holding them close. Mayo, help! What's up? What's up, me? No. No, there's Yuri afoot. There is Yuri afoot. Anything? I don't think it's something you can help with. Oh, please. What even is it? Like, hello? Sorry, you're getting chomped for interrupting the Yuri. I can't say. I have a feeling I know what it is, and that's really funny. I'm sorry and also not sorry at all. Then Lee. You're interrupting the Yuri me! Hmm. And what do you think it is? Oh, goodbye, chef. Hold on. Damn. Y'all need to work on your fighting skills. Anyway, anyways, don't interrupt the Yuri! How dare you! The last time she had woken up with Claire beside her, the air was so chilled her breath froze on her lips. Claire hopped out of bed quickly to stoke the fire, and then she returned, wrapping herself in a quilt and wrapping Galena in her arms to keep her warm. It was nice, and no matter how many times Galena recalled that moment, she never tired of her memory. She did, however, feel a certain stinging regret that she couldn't quite place. That day and dozens upon dozens of others, she and Claire had lain side by side, some nights huddled close together against the cold, and others spread out with almost an arm's length between them. Their fingers never intertwined, her hand never cradled Claire's back, and even when Claire held her, she made it abundantly clear that she did so because her oath demanded that Galena, then the princess, stay warm through the night. Understandable, Galena thought, since that was the furthest rational extent of a knight's calling. Understandable, and yet not at all what Galena wanted. Was it because she had lost the throne, or because she was nearly killed? Or simply because they were now well and truly alone together without the eyes of the kingdom upon them? Whatever the cause, that night Galena came to accept what she denied for years. She wanted far more than just Claire's sense of duty. Cute. Chapter 4, end. Oh, that was very short. Claire. What is... A palm covered Claire's mouth, and on instinct she grabbed the offending hand. When she realized it belonged to Galena, she relaxed her grip, and her eyes darted around the room. Couldn't see much, of course, given that Galena pulled the blanket over their heads. Galena winked in close, whispering right into Claire's ear. I heard someone at the door. Galena lowered her hand slowly and pulled herself in closer against the Claire. Stay here, and I'll take an oof! As Claire tried to sit upright, Galena grabbed her shoulders and pulled her back down, holding Claire's face against her chest. It was unexpectedly pleasant as it was distressing. Claire could hear Galena's heart racing as quickly as she felt her own. Anyway, lurk while morbing. Enjoy Yuri and Head Slop. Fair enough. Enjoy your morbing. The Yuri is peak. The Yuri will remain peak. The royal guard or lone hunter? Could you tell from? Also enjoy your lurk. Thank you for lurking. Could you tell from their footsteps? How many do you think? Hmm? Hmm? Galena tilted her head with an innocent grin. Oh no, it's just the tavern keeper's husband asking if we had any need for breakfast. Claire bolted upright, throwing her covers off both and gasping for breath. Dowie, you never sent me into a panic. I nearly drew my sword. I'm sorry. She's not sorry. Galena laughed, patting the bed and motioning for Claire to lie down again. I would say that I have no thought as to what compelled me, but in truth it was your sleeping face. I just felt the urge to tease you again. This is becoming quite troublesome. I do apologize. Claire's brow creased. This game is crowd control? No. I just forgot to turn off the crowd control setting. That would be really funny if a visual novel had crowd control. Could you imagine? You just you skip back like 5 pages. That'd be so funny. But nah. It's just because I forgot to turn off the extension. Forgive my insufficient hearing. I cannot sense the remorse in her voice. The bed creaked and its frame popped as Claire threw her legs over the edge and shoved them into her boots. While she laced them up, she scanned the room and listened for noise in the hallway just in case. Please don't be upset, Claire. I had no intention of alarming you. Claire turned back to face her, one hand on the bed as she glared. You were nearly killed as your life is in peril. Please not treat it so lightly. Galena flashed a defeated smile and shrugged. Fucking nice nature shrug gif. Alright, I'll refrain. We have a great distance to travel yet, and we could pass with the Royal Guard at any point along the road. If they find us, I don't know if I could stop them on my own. Galena muttered wryly under her breath. Would it be so terrible if they did finish the job? Of course it would! Claire shouted far louder than she realized. The air fell silent as her voice dripped down every wall. She averted her eyes, staring off the baseboards across the room. Forgive me, Hold your apologies, Claire. Galena pushed herself upright, flinching slightly and holding her side as she rose. I only meant to tease you. Any fault is mine. Claire's face relaxed, though slowly. No, it was my mistake. I don't... Golly. Claire held her in an unexpectedly fragile gaze. Was that really only a joke? Yes, and you've no cause for fear, my Clairette. Cute. Also, my Clairette? Uh-huh. The corner of Galena's mouth curled up and she leaned over, resting her head against Claire's chest as she looked up at her. I show endeavor blushing. I show endeavor to improve my teasing so that I can see your frantic and flustered face even more often. Claire's face flushed bright, and she turned away to don her armor. She spent the next several minutes fidgeting and fumbling with straps and gussets as she tried to lay out the next steps and contingencies. Mostly, however, she just kept thinking back on what Galena had said and the cold, searing weight of those words. Would it be so terrible if they finished the job? Claire felt her fingers go numb and she clutched her fist, then released it. She was fairly certain that Galena hadn't been joking, but even knowing that, Claire had no idea how she could raise that suspicion or if it would do it any good. With her armor on, Claire looked back to Galena and found it difficult to meet her eyes. She turned back towards the door and pretended to fasten an already firmly tied sash. Are your wounds any less painful? I can change the bandages if needed. I'm healing quickly, or at least more quickly than expected. I've not had the chance to be shot through the ribs with any great frequency, so I cannot be certain. She laughed dryly. Perhaps it is the demon's blood. There was a bitterness in the air, and Claire wanted to temper it, but she couldn't quite gather the words to reassure Galena just then. She wasn't even entirely certain that words could provide any comfort for her worries at all. I cannot say. Galena stared at the wall, or rather through it, and towards some distant point of nothingness in the sky. Claire, if I am ever as cruel as my father, even for a moment, and for whatever reason, she swallowed painfully and her voice trembled, then you must kill me. Do not allow me to carry his legacy, please. I'd stop you before it came to that. Cute. Claire stared, unblinking, her voice firm and fiery as she turned back and held Galena by the arms. I would stop you, but there will be no need. You are neither your father nor his blood. Galena stared, her eyes wide and empty. Claire felt the skin on her back tense, and she pulled her arms away, suddenly aware that she'd overstepped yet again. She lowered her head quietly and thought to apologize, but failed to find the words. She made to leave, but before she could, she found Galena's arms around her neck, pulling her back. She didn't resist, and soon Galena wrapped her arms around Claire's back and held her close. My clarinet, Galena murmured softly into Claire's hair. Thank you. Claire wanted to hold her too. She wanted to stroke the tangles of her hair again, as she had the day before in the river, so smooth, the worry on her cheeks to kiss the tip of her ear. As ever, she wanted what was impermissible. Golly, you shouldn't move so quickly. Your wounds could open again. Galena sighed. Fine, I'll allow you to escape on these grounds. But once I recover, expect my gratitude to fall upon you tenfold. Claire allowed herself the slightest smile. That's hardly necessary. Gratitude is never necessary. That is why we express it. I mean it, Claire. I mean it, Claire. Oh. Claire looked at her through her, and a voice fell as she took Claire's hand. Very platonic ear smooches, surely. Yeah, what? Don't you kiss your friends on the ear? I do, all the time. Crown or no, whether you're a knight or no, you're my dearest friend, and I can never explain how grateful I am to you that you are here with me now. She had heard those words in the palace halls at the foot of Galena's throne. Claire would have screamed and fallen over dead where she knelt from joy. Or perhaps as she did there in the inn as she felt Galena squeeze her hand, she would have merely murmured something clumsy and scrambled to her feet. Yes, I am grateful you are here and safe as well. Cute. That's a really nice little bashful expression. I would not know it as normal. Fair enough. Fair enough. I think it varies for sure. Also, I was being silly. I definitely don't. Galena smiled, a bit short and shallow. Very well then, in the interest of remaining safe, and since we've no cause to stay here another night, shall we be off? Claire smiled. Yes, without delay. Or rather, with a single delay. Oh. Tilted her head and raised a brow while Claire glanced aside. I need to fetch my horse. Aw, man! 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 You just cucked yourself! Ah! God damn it, Claire! Oh my god. The horse is important. I don't care. Kiss now! Kiss now! I maintain that I am fully capable of walking at this speed, and I'm not entirely in favor of this arrangement. Galena's tail flicked out behind her and snapped against the side of Claire's horse, who in turn snorted and shook her mane. Where did the horse come? Why is the horse hyper-realistic? Because real horse with real horse noises. The intimidating. Dude, it is so peak. The Getty image is horse. The fucking stock image, horse. That is so funny. Oh my god. Oh my god. While Claire held the reins of her horse's chandeliers, Galena rode atop. I can't take this seriously. It's hold on. Literally this. Oh fuck. Literally this. Get your ears out the damn caption. Get your snout out the damn caption. Oh my god. Finish Mayo dailies? Oh? Mayo play metaphor? Oh. I will finish metaphor soon, TM. If I have time tomorrow, I'll work on it, but I don't know if I have time. Also, Mayo dailies is really fucking funny. Lena rode atop the dappled mare with a modest amount of discomfort and a generous heap of dread. Clear strokes Chandelisa's made and led her forward. Riding will let you rest while we travel, and it will be far better to ride away on horseback than chance running on foot if we've attacked. Apart from all that, Chandelice is a noble creature, and she absolutely adores you. Galena and Chandelice both glared sidelong at Claire, Galena's eyes narrowing for a moment before she turned back to the road. Is something else? That's crazy. So to where might be bound? There are possibilities, but I would leave the final decision to you. My first thought was to make for the Duchy of Verdes, or at the least the Duke's estate. Galena stared blankly. To what end? Claire stopped mid-stride. My phone is dying. Good night, Ollie. Thanks for stopping by. Sleep well. Only's homophobic is the I know what you are dog. Okay, got it. It is a little bit of an evil and intimidating horse, but only a little bit. Thought he might yet be sympathetic since he had been courting you. Ha! Lena laughed so loud a family of birds fled the trees nearby. Not in the slightest. I rejected his advances just after I took the crown. But he should yet be willing to help, would he not? Galena grinned. He would not, or at least I would find it shocking if he even agreed to harbors for a single night. I may have been a bit curt in my rejection. Gregor looked on curiously. In what manner? Galena closed her eyes and shrugged. Only in the manner of conveying to him a very simple and immutable truth for which many months he declined to observe. No, honestly, Claire, have you ever known me to deny that I care nothing for the attention of men? That I keep only the company of women? Uh-huh. Claire smiled and snickered to herself, leading Chandeliers down the road. I would have thought it well and widely known. Galena nodded. Indeed, though I suppose he thought I might as well if I needed to marry for the sake of producing an heir, which may well have come to pass in several years' time, but certainly not within days of my coronation. She chuckled coarsely, then lowered her eyes and absently stroked Chandelisa's coat. That much at least will be a relief. Now that I have no obligations to raise an heir, I have no need to consider whether or not my chosen consort would be able to provide me with their noble seed. Gross. Galena snickered and shivered all at once as she said that, shaking her head as if to fling those words out of her ears and against the trees. She hadn't particularly hated the Duke, nor would he have been a terrible choice had she been forced to marry for the sake of inheritance, but she also found no fondness in their conversations. She had held no favor for his face. She glanced aside and noticed Claire's shoulder fall. Was she disappointed or perhaps relieved? Relieved. No, it may be a bit presumptuous to think that Claire would be relieved to hear that. I've no prospects for marriage at present. Even if she were, she's far too serious to feel at ease over the loss of a potential ally, at least most likely. I'll just shake your head. No, I kind of, like, jolted back, because that's disgusting. And not to Verdes, then where? Galena closed her eyes again to consider. From where they stood, they could reach the eastern border after a day of riding. 3 if Louise has to walk the entire way. Yeah, fair enough. Flinched? Yes, flinched. They could also wind their way through the trade roads and depart north from the nearest port, though it would mean traveling another week within Camaro. Perhaps even more. For now, east would be the safest. We head east towards Villagenere. I don't even know how to pronounce that. We may need to travel even further in time, but let's make it across the border first. Ah, yes. Claire curled her lips and her hand tightened on the reins. That would be the quickest way. Hmm? Going and tilted her head. Is something the matter? No. Claire was lying, obviously. It's no matter at all, but I suppose she took a cautious breath. I had to pass her Linkmon along the way. Chapter 6 End. I don't know what that entails. Cabin. Wagon. Veneer. But it's not like there's a pronunciation guide. True. These are very pretty, by the way. The backdrops. The village of Lakemont sat alongside neither a lake nor a mountain, nor even a pond or a hill of any notable size. Its name had always been a mystery, though not a particularly intriguing one. Louina had visited Lakemont once before, once when her father took her along with him on an official state visit to Vyonir. You know what else is pretty? Are you gonna say Canada? Are you trying to like propagandize Canada again? No, your mother. And then again when she snuck out of the palace to visit Claire. All of that had happened when she was scarcely 8, and from that time she only held 3 clear memories about Lakemont itself. First, the smell of bread and cardamom from that came from Viennese family's bakery. Second, the quiet plodding of horse-drawn wagons passing through as merchants made their way across the border. And then, most vividly, that Lakemont was Claire's hometown. While Galena was used to seeing Claire stand out in a crowd, mostly owing to her considerable height, she wasn't quite so accustomed to hearing everyone in sight call Claire by name. The baker's son, the courier, the tavern keep, and her wife, the fruit sellers, the blacksmith, the farrier, and no fewer than 6 small children all rushed up to Claire and welcomed her home as she walked down Lakemont's lone, dusty street. Galena leaned in and whispered aside to Claire and found her lifting 2 children in one arm. Cute. This is entirely safe. Claire set the children down with a puzzled look. This? It's perfectly safe. I can lift at least 4 children without much trouble. Galena grinned and laughed behind her hand. I meant all of this attention. Marceline would likely find a suspect when he failed to report in. For that matter, did you even accompany the caravan to its destination? To have him keep and her wife? I didn't even notice that, honestly. Like, that just went right over my head. No, I turned back the moment I heard a crier riding past and shouting the news that you've been disposed. But we should be safe here so long as we don't linger. Most everyone here is quite fond of you. Or at least they were. And like we still are. Things are a bit different here than in the capital. That much was certain. Galena wasn't convinced that the difference between the seat of the palace and a border village would be enough to ensure the villagers' pitchforks stayed in their sheds. If they were to make for Vionier, they would need supplies to last at least 3 days, and stopping by Marcus Square at a major port would likely see them both dead. With more than a little apprehension, Galena followed Claire through the village and stored a small cooper's cottage tucked beneath a short cliff at the forest edge. Claire. Yes? Galena surveyed the cottage and studied the door, peeking in the front window and glancing across the yard. This place, where are we exactly? Claire's face brightened. I wasn't sure they would remember, given the time that's passed. This is my home, or rather, my cottage. I always felt more at home in the palace barracks. Claire trudged onward toward the door while Galena held her ground. You've scarcely left the palace since you joined the order. Who lives here? Claire checked the door and rattled the handle a bit. No one. Claire lifted the door slightly and guided it out of its frame. I waste no one for any length of time. I've given the neighbors the key in the event that any travelers from Viennere need to take shelter for the night. But it's been years since the village? The village has seen anyone cross the border into Cameroon. Claire paused at the threshold and glanced back at the children and villagers mowing through the street. Galena watched the sullen lines of Claire's face and wondered just what the village people must have felt while Brunello slaughtered the travelers that passed through their town. How many people of Viennere and Camero had her father slaughtered over the past 3 years? Hundreds? Thousands? Her father's crimes were so prolific that she herded them in scraps and piecemeal, so it was impossible to know the true weight of what he'd done. It was very clear, however, that King Brunello had hunted and slaughtered anyone who crossed the overland border simply for being present in his kingdom. By comparison, Kalina was a single woman being hunted over chance, that she might carry out another such slaughter in the future. But when she thought on it in that light, Aaron and Marcelin seemed entirely justified in wanting her dead. After a time, Galena moved past Claire and into the dim, dust-filled cottage. Is there food here? Nothing fresh. There may be a wheel of cheese stashed in the covers, but the neighbors usually furnish food for any traveler who stays the night. Claire threw open a pair of cupboards and a small cloud of dust spilled over her face. After she sneezed and Galena laughed at her, Claire searched the cabinets again, found little else but more dust. I may need to visit the market. Probably so, and I doubt we're in danger of discovery here, at least for the time being. While Claire brushed the dust from her nose, Galena meandered down the short hallway and peered into the bedchambers. There was a single bed, a cuck stool, and a single high window filled with milky glass, cracked slightly at its edge. As she truly never lived here. I knew that she spent most of her days at the palace, but this hardly looks as if she's ever seen a set foot inside. Winna looked around for some trace of belongings, some sign that Claire had ever spent time in that cottage. She found none, save for the footprints Claire left in the dust in the moments since they entered. The emptiness on the cottage sat uneasily with Galena, as if she just placed a great weight on the top of a spindle and was teetering off balance. She shook her head out and returned to the hall. Claire, do you... Oh, Claire! Strange voice filled the entryway, and Galena ducked back into the bedchamber. Peering around the doorframe, she watched as two elderly men enter the house, and Claire rushed to meet them. She moved entirely past them, both and stuck awkwardly with her back to the hall, likely to block Galena from their view, but she seemed to grin warmly. You were her home, SMH, SMH. Hello! Claire was clearly trying to act casual, instead sounded incredibly obviously forced. Sarah Soler, Villano, how does the day find you both? The taller of the two men spoke up. Sarah Roselair, very well. This past month, very well. My husband and I, heard that you returned and we thought you might want a loaf of sunbread. And this bushel of squash. His husband been added that curly shoving of a huge burlap sack full of knobbing yellow vegetables in Claire's arms. Here. Oh, thank you so kindly. This is incredibly generous. Claire took the loaf and the bushel in one hand, her other still hovering over the hilt of her sword. Well, we saw you along on the road and supposed you might be traveling again, and we had a thought that your cupboards might be bare, so we decided to share what we could. Luana scoffed. And also, I need to get rid of all that squash, so enjoy that. I certainly will. Thank you for... Claire paused abruptly with a softer voice. Thank you, Sir Rosalie. You would happen to have a wheel of cheese and a cask of small ale I could trade for coin. I have at least a 3-day ride ahead of me without a moment to delay. I plan to go to the market myself, but my horse needs to be reshod, and I fear I've not the time for you both. Claire, keep your coin. The corners of Sir Rosalie's eye winked as he smiled. Cute. You've more need of it than we do, and your help in repairing our roof last summer was far more work than we can offer. Luana grumbled quietly. Not that we couldn't use the coin. Claire smiled. Of course, thank you both. I find a way to repay you for this kindness. Speaking nothing of it. Oh, and Claire. Sir Rosler paused as he and his husband turned to leave. Arvine has been asking for you, I would say as of late, but in truth, he's never stopped asking since last autumn. Chuckled, and Galena could see the glint of amusement in his eyes. If you have time before you must away on your business, you should stop by to see him. He's grown quite a bit more handsome in the past year. Claire smiled politely and nodded. Yes, of course. Thank you, Sarah Rosalie. A quiet creaking followed the old men out of the cottage, and soon Galena heard their footsteps shuffling through tall grass in the yard. Claire stood in the open doorway for a moment longer, watching them leave and glancing through the trees before she finally pulled the front door shut. As soon as she did, she darted down the hall and burst into the bedroom so quickly, Galena had no time to back away. Claire stopped just short of barreling into her, hovering close enough that Galena should feel the heat from Claire's skin on her own. Oh! 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 Time seemed to stammer, and they both stood there petrified, staring one another in the eye until at last Claire broke away and stepped back. Forgive me, I did not mean to startle you. Claire shook her head. You hardly could, with those pounding footsteps. Is all well? Claire nodded through her eyes while still darting across the room and through every window. To our neighbors, it's supposed something like uncles to me. I'm in a way. Uncles to me. Their son Arvine is the town's table. We could trust him. If you'd like more comfortable clothes for traveling or a replacement for you to dress, no. With no time, unfortunately, luxuries like that can wait until we're safely in Vionier. That was a lie, and while Galena could rationalize it by citing their need for haste, they wouldn't be true. She hated the heavy, hollow feeling of lying to Claire, but not so much that she hated the jealousy she felt toward a village tailor she'd never met. She wanted to divert the conversation as quickly as possible. You have the materials to reshod Louise? Ah. Claire's eyes drifted away and her lips twitched in an awkward grin. That was a lie. Though it couldn't hurt to stop by a farrier within the week, I just didn't want to leave you here alone or risk venturing out into the market if we could afford it. Oh, I see. Lena nodded calmly, biting the tip of her tongue. Then, once we've food, is there any other place you may need to visit before we leave? If we're to make for Vionier, we might be able to return within the season. That's the matter. Claire's voice held no hesitation. My duty is to ensure your safety, and I will do so as best I am available. For as long as I can, no matter where they might take us, if we must remain in Via Near for 40 days or 40 years, then I would do so gladly. Gwina pressed her claws against her palm, her arms straining from the effort. Of course. Of course Claire would say that. She's sworn to do whatever it took to protect and serve her queen, and serve the queen, and Claire was nothing if not forthright and loyal. As Claire left to water her horse, Galena paced through the empty cottage and wore a path through the dust from wall to wall. She knew that Claire would never abandon her, and for longer than she would recall, the knowledge had always made her feel at least a little safer and more at ease. She knew that Claire would stand by her and take any measure to protect her. For the longest time, Galena felt nearly overcome when Claire knelt before her and said as much. She knew that Claire was far too steadfast and earnest to break her oath, even if Galena commanded it. And knowing that, Galena hated herself more by the minute. Each time, Galena felt glad to have Claire close to her, she hated herself even more. By the time Claire returned, Queen's mind was set. Chapter 7 ended. Ooh. Don't make this Doom, Jerry. I'll fucking get you. Also, unfortunately, I do need to go to the bathroom real quick. So I'm gonna go to the bathroom and then be right back. Don't set anything on fire, and then we continue. Sound good? Cool. Be right back. Mm, I have a cookie. I have a cookie. I'm gonna. Mm, mm. I forgot this is kind of a problem because I can't really eat a cookie while I'm reading, can I? I didn't think this through. No Doom Yuri, but what about Doom Yuri? Doom Yuri goes hard. That's allowed. Doom Yuri is always allowed, but not Doomed Yuri. Mm, mm, mm. I didn't think this through. The only thing they kiss is you. Hey. Mm, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. The male fumble the Yuri? No, I'm eating a cookie. Evil? For eating a cookie? What? I'm grabbing another one while we have a sec. What? I'm eating a cookie! Leave me be! I accidentally made too much. I see the game. Oh, fuck! Sorry, 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 sorry. Oh wait, no. No, fuck. Uh, uh, uh. Fuck! Why is everything ocean? Okay, there. Hates me in particular? No, I don't. He's going at it. I just want to build a new. Whoa. No, one patches over or patches right out before it can fill it. So now we have to build and be even slower. Awful. Awful. Factorio moment. Unfortunate. 87,800 belts out of thin air. Good fucking luck. That is rough. That is very rough. $1K. It's a start. But still, that's a lot. Make a really good short, not gonna lie. Oh, it absolutely would. But like oh my god. Sorry about that. There's a lot of things I need to turn into shorts. Um, I spent a little bit of time um um researching into like clips and stuff of like stuff that I would want to make into shorts. I have like 3 different clips that I would for sure do. Support AI, yeah. You saw me type like the no AI thing because I saw like the top result was like very obviously AI art. I was like, oh, yeah, when? Never. Never. How many views is that clip at anyway? Has it broken 100? I swear to God if it's broken 100. Oh God. Ah, don't look, don't look, don't look. Creator dashboard. Okay. Check photos. Oh God. Oh God. It's at 99. The Nya clip is at 99. What the hell? That is awful. Trying to fix that chat? No. Oh God. Oh god. Why does this have 3 likes? My gosh, dude. Oh my god. Share. Share. Question? Yeah, what's up? Share. Also, like, in general, very, very pretty. Can I make it a phrase instead? Sure. You can do that. It'll technically be more difficult, so I don't see why not. That is evil. That is evil, but I understand. Oh my gosh. I said gosh. I said gosh. I'm already almost failing, and it's been like 2 seconds, and they ate those words. Mm. Lovely clip. It's an evil clip. Anyways, back to Yuri. Yuri break over. It is time to Yuri once more. The road to Viennere was guarded only by a single gatehouse stopped by 4 soldiers at the forest edge. The king's recent beheading served as an incredibly warm and effective welcome to artisans, immigrants, and merchants from the neighboring climes. Galina's plan, insofar as she had managed to form it, was to stop by the gatehouse while the crowds were thick and the road was packed with impatient merchant caravans. Their fate would still be largely chance, but Galina reasoned that Jesus. Those conditions would give them the greatest likelihood of being ushered through to Viennere without incident. Those plans, as it happened, held up for the lesser of a half of a minute. As Claire approached the gatehouse on foot and Galina rode beside her, they worked their way into a small crowd of wagons and carts and travelers strapped with heavy packs and padlocked chests. Fading into the commotion at the border was simple, but as they slowly approached the gate, Claire and Galena realized that they would have no chance of crossing into Viennere. Should have put on the thing I sent you yesterday. The whole reason why I did that one is because I was trying to avoid triggering niece phobia. When we watched SGF earlier, Sonic Racing having Godzilla means Miku and Godzilla found each other in another universe. Why is that a common thing? Why does that just happen? That is so funny. Posted hastily along both sides of the gatehouse, with more copies likely plastered across its interior, were notices of Aguina's demonic blood and her removal from the throne. All citizens, visitors, and Nike Camero. The former Queen Galina was found to have a demon's blood, the self-same which tainted the tyrant Brunello. Upon confrontation with this truth, Galina fled and her whereabouts are unknown. The royal guard seeks information leading to her capture or confirmation of her demise. Take heed. It is possible that the former queen may have one or more accomplices. Be on the lookout for any woman traveling in disguise, particularly with one or more companions. More than one copy of the posting hung side by side with the declaration of Brunello's death, a declaration Galena herself had written. Claire stepped aside and wove through the crowd to read the text scrawled below a sketch of Galena's face, complete with jagged horns and dark scales across her neck. Oh, I already read this. Claire fought her way through the crowd to rejoin Galena, and by the time she made it back to her side, Galena moved closer to study the notice by herself. She looked down to Claire, and they traded a moment's alarm before calmly walking back through the crowd. They fell into step with the small procession of merchants who had just passed through the gatehouse from Viennere, where were now heading toward Camaro's major ports in the capital city. At the first crossroads they encountered, Claire and Galena turned away from the caravans and headed down a narrow forest trail. They moved more quickly than I expected. Claire glanced over her shoulder to make sure they hadn't been followed. I apologize, I shouldn't have anticipated. Claire, you have no fault to claim. Galena pulled on Chandelisa's reins and guided her to a halt. She smiled. She sighed, smiling at Claire in a soft and weary way that Claire knew very well. She didn't know exactly what it meant, granted, but over the past decade, she'd seen Galena smile the way whenever she felt particularly exasperated, perhaps confounded, confused, or perhaps found yawning exhausted. It was all Claire could do to keep her mind clear and focused on the journey ahead, particularly with all that had happened over the past few days. She hadn't the charity for much else. This would have been the case regardless of who she traveled with, but traveling with Galena so closely and for so long placed a particular strain on her faculties. Over the past several years, Claire had grown increasingly conscious of the duties and obligations attached to the oath she had sworn to Galena. The more time she spent by Galena's side, the more adamantly Claire reminded herself that she did so because she was the Queen's Knight, because she had sworn to protect and guard her, and because her bond and loyalty demanded it. In fact, she had always felt a certain gladness when Galena laughed, or that her pulse began racing when Galena touched her arm. Those things were entirely irrelevant to her oath. It's because you're gay. At least Claire told herself as much, mostly because she found that if she did not, the desire to reach for Galena's hand to pull her close and to hold her for hours would be far too strong to resist. I didn't say it, sucker. Unless you count, oh my gosh, which shrug. We should keep moving. I don't know. I feel like gosh is different from God. Point up to see if it counts. Honestly, I think that's fair, actually. I think that's fair. Because even I'm hesitant to say uh whether or not that would count. Okay. So heads or tails? Heads it counts, tails it doesn't. Tails it doesn't. Oh, whoops. Hey. Okay, fine. We'll do it one more time while you call it. One more time, call it. Close can get away with it. I don't think tails. Watch, it's gonna be heads. Ah, okay, whatever. I don't really care that much. That's why I'm letting you have this lenience. I'll be honest. What do you want me? It's gonna be fucking like play Sonic. It's gonna be fucking play Sonic. I can tell. Spin the Yuri wheel. Ooh, okay. Base. Hold on, let me pull it up. Okie doke. Yuri fan came on there for me. True. It is the Yuri wheel. Survey by insert disc 5. Let me copy paste that in. Cool. Oh yeah, also I see an oath in kind is right there. I want to see if I can just get it and then remove it. Oh, whatever. Insect alien Yuri? Fuck yeah. As long as there's no ants, we're chilling. Nothing in a hot minute. It's all good. Don't even worry about it. Bees? We could be bees! Holy shit! Oh my god, we can finally be bees. This is fantastic news. We should keep moving. Claire spoke aimlessly, finding it difficult to meet Galena's eyes. The road guard is posting notices. One of their number may be traveling these roads. That seems likely. Galena gently tapped her heels against Chandelisa's belly, and she began walking alongside Claire. We want to get to... grab... What was that groan from me, by the way? What the hell? Pressed tight against her arching rib. Her aching rib. Golly! Claire caught Galena as she began to slip from the saddle, steadying her first, and then slowly taking her in her arms, set her down on her feet. As Galena stood, holding her side with one hand, Galena noticed a spot of blood seeping through her tunic. Your wound's open again. We need to change your dressings. Galena closed her fingers and pressed tighter against her side. It's fine. And it's hardly fine. Too much ground to cover to stop here. Golly, please. Claire felt the air snag in her throat as her voice struggled to escape. I will leave you be if you insist, but please do not ask that of me. Galena's brow creased, and she glanced away, closing her eyes and sighing. Very well, we can decide on another route while you work. Of course. Claire bowed slightly, and just as Galena began chiding her for doing so on the open road, Claire scooped her up and carried her into the forest. Claire, you... Galena turned her face away and stared off through the wood. You need to give me more warning before you do such a thing. Claire's eyes widened. I apologize. I moved without thinking. It's fine. Galena smiled, her voice somehow both amused and ragged. You've apologized far too much already this day. While Chandeliers wandered through the nearby ditch and grazed on the soft grass, Claire laid Galena down next against the moss-covered crook of an old oak tree's root. Galena raised her tunic, exposing her wounds and stopping just short of her chest. Fortunately, seeing that 2 of the 3 wounds were healing well and only the third had opened again. Claire pulled gauze and salve from her satchel and began working over Galena's skin as gently as possible. It was necessary, Claire told herself, and it was a perfectly normal part of her duties. It's for guard duties! It's normal! There's nothing to see here. Not so normal and necessary, however, was her desire to sweep her fingers across Galena's waist and gently lay a hand over her stomach. She caught her fingertips lingering a moment too long, and she jerked her hand away, burying it in her satchel to search for some imaginary medicine to finish the dressing. The sound of a clattering steel and heavy footsteps issued from the nearby road. Moments later, at least 2 horses rushed in from the opposite direction at a gallop, whinnying as they came to a sudden halt, not more than a dozen yards from where Claire and Galena sat. Claire held her breath as she and Galena both turned their ears toward the road. Report! An unfamiliar voice spoke the command, but Claire recognized the cadence of the Royal Guardian's tone. Another guard spoke too softly for Claire to hear, and then a third mentioned something about a border trail. We just rode from the border gate. Another voice, this one lower and more coarse, local guard or one of the border keepers, perhaps. No one attempted crossing, but 2 merchants there said they saw a knight in a hooded figure approach the gate and then walk away. If they're attempting to cross into the Viennere, they may still be nearby. We'll organize search of the... Sorry. I just realized I should be doing a voice for this guy. We'll organize a search of the nearby wood and set up a perimeter at any open point near that border gate. Ice spread through Claire's veins and down her spine. Instinctively, she leaned close and held Galvey against her to hide them both behind the gnarled oak, all the while glancing through the forest in search of Chandeliers. The guards were close, and even if they didn't find them immediately, Claire was certain they couldn't hide much longer if they searched the border and wood in earnest. The safest thing to do would be to make sure that the search never happened. No, even that's too optimistic. Claire still couldn't see Chandeliers. There was no chance the guards on the road wouldn't notice a horse of her size and call her nearby. Once they found her, they'd find Galena soon after. They'd be found, and Galena would be killed. There's only one way to avoid that reality now. Claire leaned back and slowly, quietly stood and gripped the hilt of her sword. As she began to draw, she felt a pair of hands pressing against the palm of Claire. Gallia only whispered her name, but the sharp edge of her voice made her meaning clear enough. She pulled herself up and stood against Claire, staring up at her and wrapping her arms more tightly around Claire's own. Claire's brow creased and she scowled. She shifted her scabbard and pulled her sword free from Galena's grip, but as she moved to draw it, Galena stepped aside and stood in the way again. She was pressing the pommel of her sword into her newly bandaged wounds. I cannot let them find you. Claire, I refuse to let you die for me. If I let them kill you, do you think I'd survive that wound? The boughs and branches around them strained against the strong breeze, and when it ceased, they were left in silence. Sacrifice! Sacrifice! Boots shifted and stirrups clanked again. A horse trotted a short distance, then doubled back. A branch snapped and leaves crinkled underfoot. Return to the border for now and comb the nearby wood to make sure no one tries to cross around the gate. Just received word that they may have given up on Viennere headed toward the northern part. Send a messenger if you see anything to the contrary. Yes, sir! Hooves clapped against the road and then bounded off to the north while the border guards marched back along the road. They paused once near the roadside and then continued along their way, leaving Claire and Galena alone in the forest. Their eyes never left one another as they glowered. This author really likes the word glowered. And Galena still held her ground, blocking Claire from drawing her sword. They stayed that way for several minutes, nearly breathless and deathly still as they waited and stared. It's a good word. It is a good word, I will say. Hi, Chandeliers! Oh my god. The hyper-realistic horse is so funny. Evil. Evil and intimidating. Get your muzzle out the dialogue box! Oh my god. Chandeliers wandered back after nearly 15 minutes, climbing up from a small hollow where she'd been eating tall grass and wild carrots. Gradually, as if she were fighting rust in the joints of her armor, Claire relaxed and took her hand from her sword. Galena took a half step and back, and both of them glanced away from one another. Without a word, Galena slowly stepped back against the trunk of the oak tree and pulled her tunic up. Without a word, Claire returned to checking the dressing of her wounds. Eventually, Claire spoke up, once again focusing on logistics to keep her mind clear. We could likely ford the river to the north and double back to Viennere through the other side of the wood. But it may take us another evening to reach the shallowest part of the river. We may need to find shelter for the night. Yes, that is a sound plan. Galena agreed easily, though with a jagged tone in her voice. If the guard is focused on the southern gate and the northern port, they may not be searching near the middle of the river. There should be a tower along the road running north toward the nearest port. You stop there for the evening and make for the crossing near before dawn. Agreed. Claire finished sitting salve across Galena's wound and bounded its highway as was safe. We should retire early this evening and leave before first light. Ah. She looked to Galena and then away as she closed her satchel. May I carry you again onto the saddle? Galena allowed a slight chuckle and agreed. As Claire lifted her up, Galena put her arms around her nice neck for a moment and then allowed them to settle down around her shoulders. She traded a quick glance to Chandelize, Galena scowling as the horse snorted back at her, and then she settled into the saddle and took the reins with one hand. Ah, adds 60 seconds, Sorgi. Once they began moving again, Galena pressed the knuckle to her lip as if she were lost in thought. Knows what you are. She really does. Oh my god. We should travel separately to the tavern in that case, particularly seeing as the guards will be expecting to find me traveling with an accomplice. Ah! It will be far too suspicious that the two of us arrive together, so we should enter the tavern separately, no less than an hour apart, and we can rejoin one another in the forest by morning. But you'll be alone, Claire nearly shouted, lowering her voice at once, but still falling to disguise her stress, failing. If you're attacked or captured while I was in a separate room, I'd not know until morning. Then you'll enter the tavern first to ensure that there are no suspicious hunters or guards lying in wait. And once I'm safely in my room, you could patrol the halls freely, since no one would suspect a single night of any dire ill. It is the safest approach. That may be so, but Claire clenched her jaw and furrowed her brow, failing to find any argument she could raise that would not sound absurd. Her gut twisted itself into knots, and her body seemed to reject the idea of separating. She trusted Galena's plan, but her first instinct, the first feeling that welled up deep from her gut, was to take Galena into her arms and hold her there through the night. Cute. Claire wanted to feel the certainty of Galena's heartbeat and the reassurance of her breathing as she slept. Each time she felt that one work its way into her thoughts, she asked herself whether being close to Galena in that way would truly keep her safe. For all the years Claire had spent arguing this point with herself, she'd always reached the same decision in the end. She would protect her queen, as she had always done. After all, what was safest for Galena was usually also safest to Claire's heart. Very well, we would do that then. If it is all right, I have a suggestion as well. Go on. When we're within sight of the tavern, I'll approach first while you wait in the forest. When I've a room, I'll signal 3 flashes of a lantern to show the tavern is clear and safe for you to enter. The no signal will mean that the tavern isn't safe, and I'll return to you shortly. Galena barely considered it before she agreed. Very good. In that case, Galena spoke with a keenness and a weight that almost left Claire shivering as she turned and lowered her voice. Very well, Claire. I'll be waiting for your signal. Yes, of course. Claire tried not to choke, and the sudden lump caught in her throat. Let us hurry to the tavern, then. Chapter 8 End. The small roadside tavern held a fair number of vacant rooms, more than enough for both Claire and Galena to find lodging for the evening without arousing suspicion. In keeping with Galena's plan, Claire divided the last of her coins between them, and Galena waited with Chandelize in a small thicket within the side of the tavern's windows. Ads? True. I'll let ads run. I'll let ads run real quick. But yeah, of course. I'll let the ads run. Also, I completely misjudged the length of this visual novel, apparently. When I looked it up, it said it was about like an hour and a half. I was completely wrong. We might actually just have a full stream at visual novel, which I'm totally down for. Without narrating or commentary. Oh, that makes sense. Then I imagine it's pretty close to the end at this point, hey? Or like probably 3/4 of the way if I had to make a bet. What are you, the Yuri police? Yes, actually. I want to know when they kiss, okay? Damn. Anyways, welcome back from the ads. With her heat, with the, didn't they already kiss? Kind of. Yeah, they did. But like, I want another one. I want a more official one. SMH. SMHing my head. Waiting for a bit then. This is glorp shit. This is glorp shit. With her feet feeling heavy as stone, Claire dragged herself down the narrow road to the tavern and with more than a little trepidation stepped inside. For all awareness and anxiety, the tavern was very quiet, filled with haggard merchants chatting quietly about the exchange rates of local currencies. The cavern keep, a tiny woman with a coarse streak of silver running through her hair, was curt but accommodating, and Claire got the key to her room without suffering any questions. Once she had the security of a locked door behind her, she lit the lantern in her room and raised it to the window, opening the lantern shutter 3 times to signal Galena. The sun had already set by then, and she strained her eyes against the dark to watch Galena and the Shanois make their way to the road, then into the tavern's shadow. Claire wandered back into the hall, watching the room below from over the railing. She listened for the sound of the tavern door, and when she heard it swing open, saw Galena step inside, she decided to return to her room. Calm yourself, Claire. When a sound, there's no danger in this tavern. You'll know if anyone suspicious passes through this hall. You carry out your duty without fail. She took a deep breath and sat back onto the bed, flopping over on her side. Her duty and her oath of fealty were perfectly clear, but she was too far gone now to fool anyone into thinking that it was her sense of duty that drove her to such lengths, least of all herself. She squeezed the pillow around her head and hid her face, growling at herself and sounding very much like a muffled terrier. Cute. She wanted Galena to be safe. She wanted to smile in that reckless, sly way she once had before her father locked her in the palace tower. She wanted her to never be alone. And those were acceptable desires for a night, entirely acceptable so long as she went no further. There was a clear boundary in her mind, a border between what was required to protect Galena, what actions were permitted by her oath, and which thoughts were permitted by her conscience. Within that narrow space, her path was always clear, and she had no reason to hesitate. If an arrow shot through the air toward Galena, Claire simply had to knock it away. If a sword swung down toward her, Claire simply had to block it with her own. The whole of the royal guard was set on hunting Galena down and burning her at the stake, then Claire simply had to help Galena flee to a place further than the royal guard could reach, and then safeguard her life along the way, secure her passage into Viennere, and then, what would she do after that? When Galena was safe and there was no further threat to her life, what would Claire do then? What did she want? Claire squeezed her eyes shut and sighed, thinking about once and daydreams never ended well for her, and she avoided it as often as possible. Now, however, lying there on that lumpy tavern bed in the quiet hours of night, the question kept floating to the surface of Claire's thoughts. What was it that Claire wanted? As often as she told herself that all she wanted was to ensure Gwena's safety and happiness, she knew that was hardly even half the truth. Do I want her gratitude? Do I want her to thank me for standing for her? By her? That seemed unlikely. Galena already made her gratitude known, and Claire almost felt unnerved when she did so, as if Galena's appreciation made it harder for Claire to keep her thoughts straight. Do I want her favor, her affection, or Claire sneered at her next thought? In all the years that she swore to stand by Galena, holy moly, and protect her without exception, she truly believed she could carry out her duty perfectly and selflessly, without expecting any sort of reward or recognition or recompense. For the most part, it was true, but then it was easy to go years without expecting a medal of honor or a mountain of gold when you go to share the bed of the beautiful girl you've loved since you were young. Uh-huh. It was easy to swear unerring loyalty when you could walk at her side and hear her laughter and be the object of her teasing whims. It has been easy, hasn't it? Curling around her in bed to keep her warm during the winters of her imprisonment, because that was what duty demanded, regarding her as she bathed in her chambers because my captain ordered it, or dressing her wounds and touching her skin. It's been so easy for me to act as if I was being a dutiful knight, not a desperate, lonely girl who's always wanted Gowie to. Claire scoffed at herself. This is foolish. Gowie's relying on me now. Also, notice how she stopped calling her Her Majesty, or My Majesty, or Gowie. Like, that's so nice. She has no one else to help her as she recovers to tell her that I want such things when she has little choice but to stay with me or risk death on her own. Telling her now would just cause her distress and push her further in the corner. Not that I would deserve to tell her such a thing under better circumstances. Claire sat upright, took a deep breath, and slammed herself back against the pillow. She tried to breathe slowly and calm her heartbeat, but every moment that she spent in that bed, she remembered waking up next to Galena earlier that morning with increased clarity. Claire pulled the blanket over her head. She nearly screamed into the mattress. It was going to be a long, tiresome night. Inner dialogue fixed? Yeah. Earlier, in a quiet grove near the river's edge, Shanawise had been chewing on sweet grass and peeled carrots after Galena dismounted to prop herself up between a smooth tree and a mossy rock. Now you see deliberately dutiful? Fuck. Ugh. God damn it. As she leaned back inside, Shanawise had reared her head and snorted. Intimidating. What? Galena glowered at the horse. Are you going to scold me now for lying to her? Shanawise snorked again and flicked her tail before wandering over to the river shore for a drink. As the evening clouds... Sassy horse! As the evening clouds cleared and the sky opened, Galena leaned back against the tree and let her soul to sink. More likely that I'll scold myself, she thought. Given that Claire hadn't followed her, she assumed that her plan would work. When she approached the tavern, she lowered herself from the saddle with some difficulty and stood in the open doorway until she was certain Claire had seen her. She crossed the room and to lean against the bar, and as soon as she saw Claire return to her room, Galena turned around and left. Reasonably certain that Claire would be focused solely on the tavern's interior, Galena climbed back on the chandelier with some effort and urged her to continue north toward the river crossing. They disappeared into the forest without incident, and everything went as planned, save for the judgmental snorts Galena received from Genoese. It was exactly what Galena wanted, and she hated it. This is better, though. Claire will stay with me no matter the hardship if I let her, and the problem is I want her to. I can't, though. I can't keep taking advantage of her like this. One thing to rely on a knight in her service, particularly in dire circumstances, that brought death close to bear. Quite another to keep that knight by your side when you're being hunted, to insist that she remain with you and share your bed and tolerate your teasing flirtations, all while you know she was honor bound to never leave. It wasn't fair. Galena wanted so badly to rely on Claire and lean against her, to sleep at her side and pull her close, and if she asked, she knew Claire would oblige her. Yeah, think about being the pretense of your relationship, right? Like you're thinking about, like, oh no, I'm abusing them. Girl, just say how you feel, god damn it. Oh my gosh. Loyal to a fault and a dear friend, and that was exactly why Galena had to leave. God, a 5-minute combo? Exactly! Oh my god. Been devoted to serving her queen, so much that Claire had an empty cottage for a home, and she scarcely spent a day in her hometown since joining the Order of the August Knights. I cannot justify this sort of selfishness any longer. I've taken too much of her life as it is, and I won't keep her from it. For another day, she may try to come after me, but my slide is slumped back against the tree. She told herself it was what she needed. She would sleep, and before dawn, she would cross into Vignere alone. After that, she had no plans for direction, but if her disappearance would give Claire full reign over her life, Galena was determined to do that much at least. Do not make this doomed Yuri. Do not make this doomed Yuri. I swear to God. Dawn crept through the musty tavern window, sprawling out across Claire's face and tickling her nose. Yowie, it's... Oh. Yowie? As soon as the sunlight reached her eyes, she bolted upright so quickly she nearly fell out of bed. After running to dress herself and fasten her armor, she bolted downstairs so swiftly she nearly cracked the last 2 steps. She scarcely waited for the tavern keep to bid her farewell as she handed over her key, and on her way out, Claire paused. On a morbid whim, she asked if she'd seen a woman cloak leave early in the morning. When the tavern coincidentally said she never rented a room to such a woman, Claire's stomach dropped like a stone. She stumbled through the door, sprinting into the forest as her heels pounded against the ground. Galena wasn't waiting in the thicket where she hid last evening. Claire ran back to the tavern and searched inside again, but Galena wasn't waiting along the road or behind the stables or in any other nearby place. With every passing step, Claire felt more feverish and dizzy. What a fool. I spent the evening blushing to a pillow while Her Majesty was captured. It's back to Her Majesty. She may be dead for my carelessness. Genoese's hoofprints led from the tavern back to the road, but once they crossed back into the grass, Claire lost all trace of them. To be anywhere within an evening's ride, the immensity of the possibility stabbed Claire's gut like a sharpened icicle. She ran without thought, concentrating only on each breath she took and the sensation of her feet pounding against the ground. Sweat poured down her face, and she ran to the only place she could think of to go, the shallows of the Severnal River, where she and Galena had planned the crossing into Vignere. Her muscles ached and burned with every step, and her coarse dark hair stuck to her face in messy clumps. Along the way, her feet caught on a root, and she stumbled down a short hill, landing on her hands and panting for breath. She fought to raise herself from the dirt, but her body refused. Her heart was pounding, her ears rang, and when she finally raised her head, her vision went black for a moment before returning. She stood to the sound of rushing water, stumbled down to the river bank, and nearly fell face first into the shore. There Claire found her. Galena stood in the shallow steps of the river with water to the salmon hanging from her hand by its gills. Galena stared up at her, astonished and frozen where she stood while the fish flapped in her grasp. Claire blinked twice and slowly moved towards the river. Dowie, you're here. What a fool thing to say. Of course she's here. Be more sensible. That's an impressive fish. Claire was still panting, barely giving the salmon a second glance. Claire, how? Galena shook her head out. Claire, please go back. What? Why? We're already here, so there's no sense in returning to the tavern. Claire took a step further and stood at the water's edge. Galena stepped back, feet still submerged. No, to Lakemont. Galena's face hardened. Go back. I'm heading into Veneer on my own. Claire stepped into the river, her boots settling against the smooth stones of the riverbed. As Galena stared at her unyielding, Claire felt as though she'd been pushing out of her mind, crowded in around. Claire felt as though all the thoughts she'd been pushing out of her mind crowd in around her all at once. This may be it. Maybe the moment she tells me she doesn't want me to follow her, she probably noticed the way I've stared and let my hands linger. She was uneasy because of that, then Claire took another step, then followed her wishes. Please allow me to accompany you to the border and see you off. Gwen's brow furrowed. Claire, did you not hear me? Go back to Laymont now. Claire hesitated and glanced aside. I will if that is your wish, but it is in the same direction as the border. Then it is my wish to take you a different route. Go, leave, Claire, leave and do not follow me. A leaden knot grew in Claire's throat and her hands felt numb and weak. Her arm moved to reach out, but she held the impulse back and kept her hands at her side. I understand. And I'm sorry. Good, you... What? She trudged through the river and stared up at Claire, her voice crackling like fire. When Claire looked down and saw Galena standing so close, her resolve began to wither away. Galena's whole body tensed and her tail stuck on end. Why are you apologizing? Claire answered with a dry smile. I have an inclination as to why you wish to send me away, and you have every right to do so. Go on. I tried to conceal it from myself most of all, but you have doubtless noticed I have that is to be entirely open and clear of conscience, and because you deserve honesty above all else, glanced aside and took a breath. We have taken unfair and undue advantage of my position and the circumstances of the past 2 days. In fact, I have taken unfair advantage of circumstances for several years now. When brow arched up and sharply and her eyes grew wide. You, what? Claire lowered her eye and tightened her fist at her side, as much to say her nerves contained the anger she felt toward herself. I have in recent days and in days past as well acted not entirely out of duty or loyalty to your majesty, and for this I will not ask forgiveness, but I owe you an explanation for my conduct. At times, and frequently during the past 2 days, I've held thoughts of an inappropriately personal nature when I should have focused on the execution of my duties. And Claire, when her voice grew frail and impatient as the water rushed by. Get to the point. When we shared a bed the night before last, I stayed awake to watch you as you fell asleep, gay, and swept the hair from your face, gay, and more than once when your arm brushed mine, I wanted to take your hand in, gay, not in a friendly or dutiful way. In truth, even now, in the course of my duty, I grew fond of you and fond of being near you, beyond what is permissible for even a visiting suitor, let alone a knight in your service. Claire choked. Cliff notes were in a freezing river. True. You trusted me to be your knight and serve you faithfully, but I've turned out to be a poor knight. I will take my leave. The river roared around them and churned between their feet. Its surface moved like molten glass and shadowed suddenly by a flick of Galena's tail. Her gaze was burning, her voice shook as if she were holding back tears. How long? Galena scowled fiercely and her tail lashed the water again. For how long, Claire? For how long have you been hiding this? Claire could feel the guilt and heat rising on her face. I'm not certain of when it started, but at least since 3 winters passed, Galena scowled. 3 winters? You've known since then? No, or rather I only realized last evening. But you suspected. Claire nodded. Galena grit her teeth and clenched her jaw, her tightened fist shaking at her side. And for that long, you swore that every breath you drew and every was because your oath to the crown. You swore to me over and over that your duty was your only interest and that you only did what your loyalty demanded. And now of all time, you tell me you've lied for years? You tell me that you slept at my side, thinking to hold me as a lover? The night 2 winters passed when you reached for my hand and held it through the night. Were you only feigning sleep then? Answer me, Claire. Yes! Claire finally raised her head and faced Galena, and water splashed and splattered near Claire's feet as Galena's tail skimmed the river surface. There's definitely a metaphor for the river that they're standing in. I just don't know what it is. Galena's silence held as firm as her gaze upon Claire's face, and as a brittle fury crept in her eyes, she finally spoke. If you're lying to me now, Claire, for some such reasons to make me feel at ease for sending you away, I'll curse you at my death. I swear it. It is the truth, though. If you still wish to curse me, I'll accept that as well. Is that so? Frustration, anger, bitterness, and exhaustion dripped from Galena's voice and soaked into the air. Of course I knew she would be angry. She would be. She should be. She has every right to be. Then Claire, voice dropped abruptly and she spoke just above a whisper, her voice dry and coarse. You mean to say that you've been infatuated with me all these years? That your heart raced when you helped me dress and lay me with me in the winter and carried me through the forest? Yes. And that you wish to be more than my knight to hold my affection? Yes, though to be my consort, or perhaps you wish to be my mistress while I sat on the throne? No, I mean yes, but not that you love me. Yes! Claire was panting, sweat beading across her brow. She gasped for her breath and failed to slow her racing heart. She wanted to scream and perhaps dunk her head into the river at her feet. I've said as much. I freely admit it. I've been a shameless reprobate and had improper thoughts and several dreams, and I. Yeah! Yippee! Claire's heart nearly burst through her ribs as Galena reached up to grab her collar, pulled her down, and kissed her firmly. After a few moments, Claire felt the pressure of Galena's lips fading, and against all of her determinations, she leaned down and kissed her in return. It was clumsy, slightly off-center. The kiss splashed with river water, nervous sweat. The feeling left Claire static, and it burned her in the nerves like the pinpricks of night. The world around her seemed to narrow and drunken until all she could see was Galena grinning anxiously up at her. And then as a rush of wind hit Claire in the face, the world turned dark as pitch. Claire opened her eyes slowly. Her vision was blurred and her eyes were ringing. Her ears were ringing, but she could just barely make out the color of the sky and the forest canopy above her. Her hair was soaked and cold against her neck, but something burned beneath her. Coughing faintly, she sifted and saw Galena staring down at her. Yowie, Claire tried to sit upright, but the unexpected weight of her drenched hair and armor immediately pulled her back down. Her head fell against Galena's thighs, and Galena laughed. Good morning, Claire. You picked a fine place for a nap. Claire blinked and felt the faint sting of river water in her eyes. How long was I asleep? Only a few moments, thankfully. Most of it which you spent mumbling as I dragged you out of the river. Evil and intimidating horse. Chandelier snorted and Galena sighed. Fine, while Chandelier dragged you out of the river and I helped somewhat. Ah ha ha. Nervous laughter was mostly all that Claire could muster. Third wheel horse, for real, for real. Thank you. It is quite literally two awesome lesbians and an evil, intimidating horse. That is so funny. Her lips still squirming and unable to settle on a single expression. Forgive me, I think I was dreaming. With some difficulty, Claire began removing her gauntlets and loosening the straps on her armor. Oh, is that so? There was a pleasant lilt in Galena's voice. And what sort of dream did you have? Something fairly unbelievable. More of Weeble kissing me and then promptly fainting into the river? Claire felt her breath catch in her throat. I stand corrected, I was not dreaming. Dear knight, you are in no condition to be standing so soon. Galena smirked and Claire glowered up at her. Your concern is touching. Our hands are also touching. Is that intentional, Claire? Even after Galena pointed out, it took Claire to register that she was in fact holding Galena's fingers in a firm grip. She pulled her hand away sharply, and as she did, she saw the teasing grin fade from Galena's face. More deliberately now, Claire raised herself upright, propped her arms upon her knees, and she made no effort to turn back toward Galena, certain that her own face was still burning red. It is. The anxious energy flowing through her nerves gradually beginning to quiet in its absence, there was nothing to keep Claire from drowning in her thoughts. I love Callie, and she knows, and I touched her hand. She kissed me? Why? I don't understand. She told me to leave, didn't she? But she's not disgusted with me, then why should we do that? There was an obvious answer, of course. Claire saw it, considered it, and upon accepting that it was, in fact, the most reasonable possibility, she wanted to scream. Why? Sweet joined the river water dropping down Claire's face. Her chest heaved as she tasted stale, earthy water with every breath. The only way she could keep herself from thinking of what Galley's kiss could mean was to keep herself from thinking at all. Silence settled in uneasily around the both of them, and before long, Claire glanced back and saw that Galena too was staring blankly up at the space between the leaves and the canopy. I'm sorry. Galena was still watching the leaves shift overhead as she spoke. If what I've done is unwelcome, I didn't mean to make you faint, but even if you hadn't. No! Claire resisted the urge to look away and hide her face. I meant that it wasn't unwelcome. I did kiss you in return. Oh. Galena's eyes brightened. Flirt. Literally the flirt emote. I thought you'd just fallen face first against me. Claire shifted and fidgeted a bit. No, at least that part was fully intentional. I see. Hmm. Hmm. Claire, is this really alright? Her voice is low and coarse and warm with embers. Like embers. You really don't want to return to Lakemont? Claire blinked. Why? I have no home there, not really. But you could. Claire smiled a bit. You're right, yeah. I've had a choice. I'd rather go back to the Palace Gardens, though I only felt at home there when I was with you. Gawain snorted. Flattery. Only slightly. Her nerves were steadier now, though not by much. She still felt vaguely sick and as if she might fall over at any moment, but when she noticed Gawina's fingertips trembling, Claire drew a deep breath and moved to sit beside her. To answer your question, do you mean is it alright for the two of us to keep traveling together? Gawina grabbed her own left hand with her right to steady herself. In a sense. Claire shifted a bit, propping her elbows upon her knees. When you told me to leave, I thought it was because you knew how I felt and you were revolted. Claire, please. Gawina scoffed and flashed a brittle grin. You've never been indecent or even inappropriate toward me in your life. To think you worried so much about sliding up an inch closer to me in bed when I pulled your face into my breast without an ounce of shame or hesitation? Huh? Gawina's tail flopped down limp on the shore beside her. She shuffled her hands anxiously. I was the problem. You've been sworn to my service for years now, and for as long as I can remember, I wanted so much more than I should have. It could never be fair, though, for a prince and then a queen to ask one of her knights to undress her, like, lie with her in bed and be her mistress. What choice would they have? And it's not as if I did an admirable job of restraining myself. It was all the time I told Ursula I wouldn't allow anyone but you to guard me as I bathed, among other things. At the door in the first inn. Oh, right. And even now, being injured and running from the royal guard, all that was forced you to stay with me, and so I thought you might be happier if you were free of me. Slowly and deliberately, so that she was sure Gawina could see it happen, Claire reached out and touched Gawina's hand. That part of it? No, I didn't. I must have like full on uh what's the word? Um 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 dissociated during that line. I'm not gonna lie. Golly, I didn't or at least did not process. Yeah. My bad. It's all these years because I swore an oath to the crown. I swore that oath because I wanted to stay by you and Claire felt her ears burn. Not as if I couldn't have stopped you from rolling over in bed and leaning against me if I wanted to. Luna let out a weak laugh and cautiously took Claire's hand. I'm still not certain this is a good idea. For the first time, Claire, what sort of life do you expect you all have if you leave everything behind and you go with me into Vignier? Claire frowned. I don't know, but if we part ways now, I doubt I'll ever get the chance to kiss you again, and we never share a bed through the winter. Well, that's unconscionable. What? Unconscionable? Unconscionable. Indeed. If we were to be honest, I didn't think I would feel so terrified to be talking about this. For that matter, I never thought we'd be having this conversation at all. But in poems and songs and such, confessions of love always seem wildly blissful and thrilling and not mortifying with a bit of relief in the 4 or 5 things I haven't sorted out yet. Unthinkable? Yeah. Gwena snorted out a laugh and leaned her against Claire's shoulder. Mortifying is right. I was so convinced. High key, leaning against someone's shoulder is one of the most comfortable places to lean. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I fucking love leaning against someone's shoulder. Like, that is peak, peak. I don't like human contact, but like, if anything, shoulder leaning is peak. It is peak. Have to test that out? Gay. I was so convinced that you must hate me that you restrained all the days you had spent guarding and tending to me. I would think I was too busy trying to convince myself that I wasn't smitten to feel anything like resentment. First smiled at her a bit unsteady still and just isn't sure. After a moment's hesitation, she put a hand around Gwenda's shoulder and held her so gently, fingers nearly slipped away. With wife? Hell yeah. Zero means with you? No, I know. I'm not cheap. Damn. Make them cheap. Make them cheap now. But yeah, no, I know that having been a pillow for 5 billion people while also using a few people as a pillow in my past. But for the most part, I tend to be the pillow. I've been told I am a good one, so I am honored. And then Sai put her hand over Claire's, carefully pressing them together. This was new, not the motion of holding Galena, but the tension, the weight of her heart warmth against Claire's skin. Those sensations were new and strange and strangely intoxicating. How firmly could she hold her? How firmly should she? How long could Claire stay like this before she could think of nothing so much as pressing her fingers into Galena's skin, tracing the lines of her scales with her hands, feeling the feverish heat of her lips? Claire, Galena turned her face and her nose brushed against Claire's chin. Her lips parted, but she didn't speak. A breath passed as Claire and Guina stared at one another, and then Guina curled a finger under Claire's chin and pulled her kisses and kissed her. Claire felt her entire body was a bolt of wool, suddenly unwound and uncrumpled on the floor in a sweaty lump. Bottom. She moved her way from Gowie's shoulder to the back of her neck and pulled her in closer, closing the gap between them each time they drew back to catch breath. There were nights when the palace where Claire would awaken long before sunrise, always from a dream of Gowie's lips pressed against her body and on her own hands leaving impressions across Gowie's skin. Nothing in those dreams felt like this, no matter how vivid. Claire kissed Gowie again, quickly across her chin, and then her cheek again, then her jaw. When her lips touched Gwena's neck, she heard her gasp, but then suddenly Gwena pushed away. Wait! Gwena was grinning and breathless as she held back. If we keep doing this, I won't be able to think. I need to think! She grimaced. But I don't want you to stop either. Then I won't stop. Wait, Claire. Gwena grabbed Claire's collar and leaned forward to rest her forehead against Claire's chest. Claire, I need to... Gwena grumbled a bit and bunched Claire's shirt up in her fist. Whoa! I don't need to say it plainly. Claire led her hands back to her side. Is something wrong? No, not wrong, but twisted her legs up angrily. I've not said it directly, and I should, so Claire, I love you. Ah, Claire unraveled. She immediately turned away and fought for her breath against the mangled knot in her throat. Sweat dripped in her eye. She wiped her brow with her clammy hands as she tried to calm herself. Please, do not think I'm turning away as a rejection. I'm happy, but I'm also not sure that if I don't look away, I'll faint again. Good! And her voice buckled against itself. Kiss, need, think, and talk. It is a true predicament. I'm happy as well, and I feel like I'm gonna die. If you know, you know. I felt like death then when I had 3 arrows sticking out of my ribs. Claire laughed. For this, at least I can relate. Gods, why does it feel so immense and catastrophic to say such a thing? Galena collapsed against Claire's shoulder and buried her face in the mess of Claire's dripping hair. Claire, don't look at me right now. I don't want to know what my sort of mess this is made of my face. Honestly, I should be saying the same. Claire clutched her chest and pressed her knuckles against her ribs, and as if someone that would slow her rushing heart. Perhaps we should take more time with these things for our health. Galena let out a dry laugh. Probably a wise choice, though I doubt I'll make it. They're both planning to be fools. You can't just... Fucking flirting, horse. You can't just do that. Snorted stamped her foot just behind Claire's back. She lowered her head and nudged Claire in the shoulder twice. She then stamped on the ground again. Over distracting and realistic horse. Oh my god. What? Claire glared up at Shannowese. How could you be so hungry? There's grass all around us. Shannowise snorted again and shook her head. Claire, what is she saying? She doesn't like the grass here for some reason, I think. Either that or she wants us to move. Or she's nervous being out in the open. I'm not sure. She is a horse after all. Well, we spoke with a measure of reservation. I suppose it would be best to actually make it across the border to Vienna before we worry about anything further than that. Yes, at the very least, we should find a place deeper in the forest where you can hang all of this armor up to dry. Lena smirked, watching Square stripped off the remainder of her armor. Flirt. Indeed. In all honesty, we should dry all of our clothes. I hate for you to catch your death. Glanced sidelong at Galena, lifted up onto Shanoi's saddle. Always have mischief in your voice when you talk about removing my clothes. Truly? I hadn't noticed. Truly. We should move away from the river, though. We'll probably be safe further into the forest. Of course. By the way, Claire, if you aren't wearing your armor, then won't you need Shanoi's to carry it? Gwynna glanced back over her shoulder to see Claire holding her breastplate, her gauntlets, her pauldrons, her boots, and her greaves all strapped together as a full suit. With Claire slung back over her shoulder like a friend, she was carrying her home after a night of drinking. Claire looked more than slightly confused. It's all right. I know I fainted a little while ago, but I feel much better now. Galena only stared. I forget sometimes just how easy it is for you to lift the weight of a person with a single hand. That gives me a few ideas. Ayo. What was that? Nothing. Here we go. Galena flipped the reins slightly instead of Shannowise off a trot. The wood grew sparse along the far side of the river, each tree growing taller and broader and yet farther from its neighbor than the trees of the common row. Moss-covered oaks replaced the tall pine and poplar that surrounded villages like Lingmont, and as they headed further south, the ground leveled out beneath them. Golly, what would you like to do once we arrive in Viennere? I don't mean finding lodging or getting food. What would you like to do once all that has been settled? I'm not sure. Would you like any particular thing to eat, or would you like to rest? And we should likely see a doctor before long. Please, this is too much thinking for now. I make sure you don't leave my side, Claire smiled with a slight curl on her lips. Of course I swore an oath, didn't I? Yes, you did. Lena closed her eyes as if deep in thought, then she pulled on the reins and brought Shanoise to a halt. And on that note, my Claret, Lena started to slide down from the saddle when Claire caught her halfway, easing her to the ground. Golly, what are you? Without a word, Galena stepped back and knelt down, bowing her head and placing one hand over her heart. I, Galena Cercial Taylor de Comaru, in the presence of my knight and dearest friend, as well as her horse, swear and acknowledge my homage and fealty to you. Claire felt as if her spirit were about to fly out of her. She tried to pull Galena up, but her hands were suddenly weak and her arms went numb. Golly, what are you doing? You can't... Just wait a moment. Galena huffed, pouting a bit. I never interrupted you when you swore this to me. Please be patient. Claire tried to protest further, but her voice withered on her tongue, and she could only stare at Galena, beautiful and nearly divine as the sunlight cutting through the leaves. As I was saying to you, Claire, the rightful bearer of what I love I have to bestow, I swear upon all honor that I will be by your side and at your service till death itself claims me, this world or both. As you have sworn, so I will swear to sacrifice all that I have defended to all that you are, to defy any threat or injury to your person or your unsufferably enduring face, to remain cute, to remain steadfast and loyal through all trial and hardship. I pledge myself without regrets. The whole of my life is yours. Claire's armor fell to the ground behind her, and she nearly fell over herself. She really does that a lot, doesn't she? She must have looked ridiculous, she thought, since Scully immediately burst into cackling at the sight of her face. Is there something the matter, dear knight? But Claire couldn't speak. She knelt down and held Galena tight, her face against Galena's cheek, her hands against her back, kneeling together in the grass as she always snorted impatiently at them. You didn't have to do that. I wanted to, at least partly so that I could shut up every time you put on that recklessly handsome smile and proudly remind me that you're sworn the same. That, Claire closed her eyes and pressed herself against Galena, is entirely fair. I concede. Then, my dearest Claret. Galena pulled her face back and touched Claire's chin with 2 fingers. Claire nodded. Of course. With that, Claire hopped up, lifted Gowie in her arms, and placed her down on the saddle again. Galena looked back at her wide-eyed and aghast. Claire, why did you do that? Claire blinked. I thought you meant to continue on our way and that I should put you back on Shanoise. Galena powdered her trail flicked back and forth rapidly. I meant for you to kiss me! Oh! You useless lesbian! Sorry. Oh my god. Felt her ears burn and she glanced away. My apologies. We may need to improve our communication with one another. Galena laughed. Not much as a parent. I suppose you can make it up to me with the next stop to rest. Of course. As useless as us. Hee hee. Claire tried her best to flash a charming smile at Galena, but the sight of Galena's face, the memory of her oath, and the smell of her hair, all of it left Claire reeling and disoriented. She clutched her chest and took slow, shallow breaths. Yowie? Do you think this sort of thing will ever not feel like death? You mean speaking about how we feel care about one another and such things? Yes. Gods, I hope so. Claire smiled and her eyes wandered to Galena again, lazily resting on her face and then her neck, the curve of her waist and liner of her collar. She noticed another spot of blood on her tunic and she frowned. Your wound is opened up again. We need to change the dressing before we move much further. Galena chuckled. And you're still swapping wet. Did I not suggest that you remove your shirt before you catch fever? Where to catch fever right now, I'd likely never know. While Claire screamed in her thoughts, a bashful grin crept across her face. I'll be fine, at least until we make our way closer to the border. It doesn't seem that anyone has followed us, so you may yet be able to rest once you're closer to Viennere. Travel went easily for a time, which meant there was little to distract Claire from her racing mind. She could only hope to stall herself and try to delay all of her errant curiosities and hopes from escaping for as long as possible. She made it almost 7 minutes. 7 whole minutes? Damn. Yowie, Claire called out to her as they found their way on a small animal trail. Does that mean that we'll become lovers? In a sense, though, and in another sense, not quite yet. It's certain that in that time, should you be interested, we could hold the title rightly in every sense of the word. Claire blushed, realizing what Galena was thinking. Yes, of course, in time. It's scarcely 2 hours past dawn. We shall always wait until this evening. Whoa! Neri fell over her stomach and shit. Literally, I'm sorry. Every single time she does that, it makes me think of the fucking, it makes me think of this fucking gif. Every single time that she like stumbles and falls, this runs through my head. Yeah, yep. Just literally every time. It's so funny. Oh my god. Anyways, Claire nearly fell over, stumbling against Eloise. This evening? Marina laughed softly in a way so gentle that Claire nearly swooned again. I'm only teasing you, my Clairette. Only teasing. Claire swallowed, the nerves tangling up in her stomach. It would hardly be a problem if you weren't. Claire felt the heat rise beneath her skin immediately when she said that. Sadly, I fear we'll be only teasing for a time. Marina sighed bitterly. Ugh, I should likely wait until I recover and perhaps see a doctor if I'm to survive next winter at least. Oh yes, of course. It was small, but in that moment, Claire felt a wave of relief all over her. Maybe it didn't mean much, but hearing Gaui talk about living on in the future and recovering left Claire almost unreasonably glad. Squaring her shoulders off firmly, Claire nodded and stepped ahead to lead Shannowese over a small stream. Very well then. All the more reason to hurry along to Viennere, and until we can find a proper doctor, you should rest as much as possible. Naturally. So I'll carry you anywhere you need to go. Guinea's tail stood up and twitched. Claire could see the hint of a blush. And Gaui's ear out of the corner of her eyes. My Clairette, that's profoundly sensible. I should need to go a great many places once we arrive in the next city. Claire grinned and she let her hand slide across Galena on the reins. Of course it is, Gaui. I'm nothing if not sensible. By evening, they would reach the edge of the wood and cross the coastal plains of Viennere, weary and weathered but otherwise intact. Claire would find an inn very quickly, one that was quiet and cozy, and which would boast a single free bed with a view of the ocean nearby. In time, they would find something more permanent. In time, and with some impatience, Galena would recover. In time, albeit a great deal, Claire would stop reaching for her sword each time someone approached the two of them on the street. But for now, Claire and Galena wandered through the forest, hands held together over Shanoi's reins as Galena's tail flicked happily back and forth. Whoa! Cute! Yippee! Let me turn up the music a little bit. Yippee! Cute, You doubted the happy ending? I did. Seeing Claire and Gaui safely through the forest. Aww. Yippee! Welcome hand reaching out to you in the woods. Yay! Yuri! Yippee! The end. Has been unlocked in the extras menu. Also, it's my game, so trans rights! Yeah! Trans rights are human rights! Yippee! Let's fucking go. Fucking Vegas. Oh my god. Happy Pride Month. Hell yeah. Oh, whoa. Character art, cute. Should be fine, but a knight is extra is not. Yeah, I'd take that. Horse, 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 horse. House! House! Yippee! Chandeliers. Yeah, I take it that is not safe. Oh my god. Wait, how loud is that for you, by the way? It's a little bit loud. Horse! Oh my god. Hell yeah. I'll have to read through that stuff off stream probably. Cause, you know, spicy, but so no worries there. Yeah. Perf. Hell yeah though. That was peak. Stream on Discord? Maybe. I'll see how I'll trust Az on how risque it is. But GG's. That was heckin' great. Yuri, my beloved. Ugh. That actually did go longer than I expected to. Part of me wants to keep streaming because I don't exactly feel eepy, but also I don't have anything else planned that won't make me play for another like 3 hours. So either we could get a giga long stream or I end here. Hit base, boo wounds are homophobic, true. Maybe feeling sick, go eep. Ah, you're right. Fine. Fine. Okay, I'll take care of myself. I want to stream long though. I'll do the boring thing. I wanted to play Monhunt. Could draw Dwifta. I could. I just don't have an iPad. Like I don't know how to like stream my iPad. If I could, then I would draw Dwifta. But I don't really know how and I don't want to figure it out right now. Of course, you just lay in bed with me the whole time. Ew, gross. Ew, ew, ew. But yeah. Oh my god. Time while you draw? It's okay. It'll probably take me a while because I don't draw very fast. So it'll be something that I'll probably do like off stream. I might I might just draw uh after I end. Mm-hmm. 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 But yeah, I may end it here then. Peak heckin' Yuri. That was amazing. Yeah. I'm probably just gonna pull up a Twitch stream and then or like whoever I'm rating into and then just draw Dwifta. Draw the Dwifta. I will send updates as the Dwifta progresses. But yeah. Thank y'all for being here. Let me find a place to send y'all to. Peak Yuri. Peak heckin' Yuri. Oh, Packby's back. Uh, do we go Packby or Kumomo? You guys have Yapper or Ace Attorney? Or we could go somewhere random. Kumomo? Kumomo. Let's go Kumomo. Let us Kumomo the Momos. Kumomo Patchy? Oh. Well, I saw Kumomo first. You have the Piss Tuber. The wondrous Piss Tuber of Pistum. But yeah, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you had fun. Cause Isaac? Oh, true. It's okay. I like Ace Attorney a lot. I just need something to listen to background audio regardless. But yeah, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the visual Navu. I love Yuri. I'll see y'all on Monday? Perhaps? Probably Monday, yeah. I'll see y'all on Monday at the earliest. Have a good rest of your day, night, eating, better kind of time zone.